We'll just keep on talking. So, where do we end up in that last? I didn't go back and listen to the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't go back either, but we left off somewhere.
there was a profound point that needed to be made, wasn't there?
Well, it's not showing up live here. I think we've got the delay going on.
I
didn't go back. There we go. Yeah, we're live now. Okay. And we've got Dr. Leonard McCoy. How you doing, Doc?
Leonard was just in the room waiting for us to. Hey, Leonard. I like that guy. He's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
One of my favorite MGTOWs, Leonard, and he's just a good guy.
He's joined us a couple of times last year too as well. We got into some really fruitful discussion there. He's definitely got a lot of it. I think he is a trained doctor. Just to have his certificate, I'll let him explain that, clarify that for himself. But he's definitely a good resource out there for guys. We've discussed meditation practice informally. So, it's a good thing. It's really good. So much variety.
I've been doing. I got a lesson this week in my deep introspections that I stopped doing there for a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, I was. I stopped sleeping there, and then someone on one of the podcasts says, Joe sounds like he hasn't slept for 3 days, and I looked up and I was like, how did he see that? Yeah, I haven't. And then I had to, go back and start look at myself, look at the body, try to feel myself, do those introspections about why I wasn't sleeping and why, what was going on in my life. And I put it all together, bought a bottle of sleeping pills at an inflated price from your doctor.
As the case is, you've been going through some insomnia, Joe. Is that what you're going on? Because
yeah. So
believe me, I work a 7/24. I run it, so that's one of the reasons why I haven't been my sleeping too as well.
Yeah, so I usually he said take 2, I take 1, and then I did it like 3 days. I got caught up on my sleep and thought about why I was doing that and what stressors were in my life, and I got better. It just went away in a couple of days. It's that power of Mgtow working in my life where I can approach these things, see them, do the introspection, figure out what's wrong, where I'm veering from what I should be doing, and then set that in motion and do it, and do whatever it takes to get back.
Sometimes you're also nations too as well, and I think we become solutions, which is like 60 to 70,000 thoughts within our. We got to process all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guys with meditation practice definitely, can spot. It's about becoming conscious and becoming aware.
Yeah.
In your waking days, observing how your mind works. What are you thinking about? You know what you think, but how are you feeling? All these exercises, all these things.
Clear the mind. That was the hard part, clearing everything up so I can see, cutting through the junk so you can see the reality behind some things, and it was good. It was that's the Mgtow thing. Okay, I think we lost you for a few minutes there, and I'll just keep talking. Hey, by the way, I'm smoking. And
dropping in and out?
Yeah, you're dropping in and out.
Yeah, I'm in a location here, so bear with me on that. I'll try and fix that.
Okay. I was smoking a Victor Sinclair
cigar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard in talks you've been putting out a few orders, some of the cigars there. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so this one's pretty good. It's one of my favorites. I get a lot of them. They're Victor Sinclair. It's a Maduro wrapper with the dark Maduro, and I've been puffing on this since I woke. Matter of fact, I started this one last night before I went to bed, and then I just kind of set it there, and then I restarted it when I took my walk. And I must look like something walking through the neighborhood with my my fuzzy hat on with a cigar sticking out of my head. But it's a pretty good, decent cigar. It's a Maduro wrapper. It stayed together well.
Get that, Joe?
Yeah, you're still cutting in and out.
Cutting in and out. Yeah, I've got some activity issues here, Joe. Sorry about that.
Yeah, they're tying up our internet.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah, they're taking an unequal cut of our bandwidth. Let me change this bandwidth a little bit and see if that helps.
Yeah.
If I can do it. There we go. I don't know exactly what that does or usage, and we can always do that. See if that helps. I think it declines the usage for one person, so the usage for the other person kind of equalize. And that might be the problem. My bandwidth is rather good.
Yeah, just checking the chat room. Guys are strong. We got 4 guys watching in right now.
Yeah. Sorry.
5-speed manual just joined it. How you doing, 5-speed? Perfect. Yeah, we're just slowly getting this going, and hopefully guys will show up. We've already sent a few invites, so we're just waiting for guys to show up.
Yeah, did you see that new movie yet, Deadpool?
Deadpool? No.
No? Okay, yeah. MJ said he just seen it, and I forgot to ask him about it and what that was like, Deadpool. So I might go see it this week at the local, but I'm not going to pay the full price. They want like $12. I'm going to go for the Monday special probably tomorrow. Monday, and that's $5, and then I can go see it.
Last movie I went to see in theaters was I forgot the name of that movie, but it was about 5 or 6 years ago.
5 or 6 years ago. You haven't been to a movie theater since? They're not the same. The gaming things aren't the same when you go into the little game rooms out there.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I used to be able to play Pac-Man. We'd go watch a movie, play some Pac-Man before you go, and some of the older games. And for a quarter, they wanted your quarters. You could play the crane game, see if you can win a prize, all that stuff.
The arcade days, Joe. Remember those?
Yeah. So that was always fun. We'd do that before we went to see a movie, and then go see the movie, get some popcorn, and make some rude comments during the movie, and but it's not the same. The arcade games are like, you have to insert a $5 bill in there now, and you get time now.
Really?
In my neighborhood, it's like, oh, that's kind of expensive.
I think it's Tokyo. That's the arcade capital of the world. I mean, the Japanese are all over arcade games and all that. And some of the games that they have, for us in the West, it's like, what? Really?
Yeah, really. I just want to put a quarter in and see if I can get Pac-Man up to like level 4 or something.
Remember Pac-Man back in the 80s? That was oh man, that was the Game Ball games. Everybody wanted to play that. There was a window, I think it was 1982 or 83. Yeah. Pac-Man was the shit. Look at where things are at now.
Yeah, that's a great game. I like that. I still like that game. If I see one out there, I'll stop and see if it's if this is 50 cents. I'll throw a couple quarters in there to bring out my old gaming skills. And I kind of date myself, but Pac-Man.
No, it's nostalgic, Joe.
Yeah,
it's nostalgic.
I don't like the new ones as much as I like the old ones. The old one had a simpleness to it that was there was an objective there, and it was an unattainable objective, but
okay.
Still, it was like something to shoot at, and I kind of like that. It was easy. And Space Invaders too. Space Invaders.
Oh, Space Invaders! Remember that?
Well, yeah, you had your choice between Pac-Man. You could push the button, and the screen would flip, and then you'd go to Space Invaders. And Space Invaders was always fun, but I would always get my ass kicked in Space Invaders.
Yeah, it was that little spaceship would blow you up, and you were just a notch off, and then you're done. Start all over again. You accumulate so many points, and oh man, that was big back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was our gaming back in we were dating ourselves, but it was still fun. It was about the same. Now they have the game booths. You can sit in there and you kind of get in, and it's like a cockpit.
Yeah.
And, you have the whole gaming experience. You put the helmet on, and whatever game you're going to go play, you put the $5 in, and you get like a half hour, I think now.
Yeah. And, well, the next level is what's that? what's that 3D thing? That's where you put those.
Oh, the Oculus, like.
Oculus Rift. Yeah, Oculus Rift. I tried it out. A buddy of mine, an IT guy, tried it last year. He gave it up since because his computer's just not up to speed. You got to get some serious RAM going on and a serious video card to process that.
Yeah. Do you need like 4 gigahertz or better?
I think you have to start at 32 gigs of RAM. That's just the operating RAM, and you need a kick-ass video card that's at least $2,000.
Oh yeah, I was just looking at redoing mine. My computer's not that old, but I was looking at the A10. I got an Asus, so I was looking at the A10, and I was kind of thinking to drop down a little bit because someone was saying that I can go with the A12 now, and then I can get the Radeon I can't 9800, which is about almost what I got now. And he says that's what he says everybody was kind of dogging on it, but he was a computer salesman, and that's what he does. He repairs computers. He says he was skeptical of the A12, and he was skeptical of the Radeon packages, and then he was like, oh, and now that's all he puts in. Everybody wants the A7 with the FX 9800. What's that? That's a loud machine too. You ever listen to one of those go?
No, I haven't heard it.
Oh God, you turn them on and it's like you get that if you're trying to talk or anything like this. But if you go with the Asus with the Radeon pack, or you can go with the different package. It doesn't really matter that A12 processor, and you get 4.2 on that gigahertz, and then so that's 4.2 is pretty good. I like 4.7 because that's kind of the new where to go. But still with the 9800 Radeon, you're doing very well, and it's not as loud.
I'm breaking in and out, Joe. Can you hear me okay? Guys in the chat room? Okay. Yeah, no, it looks like we're up to 8 right now. I've got one guy here, Kenneth L. Can I ask a question or subject or topic? Shall we entertain that?
Yeah, we entertain anything on the Throwdown too. It's an open forum.
We're open forum. I mean, we're trying to get a couple guys on to continue our previous conversation, the first part of the Throwdown. And for guys that are just tuning in, it's all about a Christian message to Mgtow. And I posted a video. So that's been I guess the basis for the discussion. I joined in later on the first part of the Throwdown. Joe, maybe you can give a rundown of what we did, maybe as an introduction now to the second part.
Okay, we this morning we talked about a large variety of subjects. We talked about the Christian. My concern was that we get groups influxing into Mgtow, but they want to bring their baggage with them. And I don't want to specifically say that the Christians do this. It was just a good example that we used. So we broke down how they bring their baggage, how they bring their individual personal ideas, and then they kind of try to relate. And this is what I call absurdism. And it's they usually come with this nihilism and this existentialism and absurd. They're trying to make an absurd link that it's like you get that guy. Remember that guy last week that was saying MGTOWs are pedophiles? And he was he was making this absurd link in his head, and he was just telling on himself and where he was going. Kenneth had that question. Did you want to read that, or do you want me to read that one?
Well, yeah, he's got the question. I'll just bring it forward. I mean, it's it's racist. It's relating to racism, but it reads the racism in the Mgtow community. I'm African American. It is a real turnoff and makes me want to leave. You know what? I'll speak for myself. I guess I could be considered of mixed race or mixed culture. Yeah. It also turns me off. And as someone who's traveled the world and has perhaps a different perspective than most, is multilingual, and I've crossed cultures and races, 2/3 of the globe that I've traveled. So yes, I am biased in that view, and racism just doesn't come across me. I'm gonna obviously gonna put my foot in my mouth sometimes in my dialogue, but it's not the foundation. I know where my foundation lies. And racism just doesn't have a place here in Mgtow. We've had the white front or whatever the fuck they're called,
Yeah,
try to infiltrate us, and they're not going to hold water with us. We are too international now. Okay, we've got way too much in our front, and they're just racism just isn't a thing for me here in Mgtow. Yeah.
Oh, am I echoing?
I might have broken in and out. Are you there, Joe?
Yeah, I was just seeing. Okay, it's gone. I had to plug in, plug out. I got a horrible echo there for a second. And I was thinking with the waste is MGTOW, it's not our issue. It's really not our issue. We're talking about all men here. And we would just like to be inclusive of all men and just not, we'll put that away. And like we said earlier on the earlier program, we're colorblind around here. That's not our issue. What we're doing is working for all men, and we have this commonality in men. So when people bring around the idea of racism, it's the same thing the preacher was bringing around, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
It was they bring that whole package where our ideas and our philosophy has to start bending to their philosophy. And there's other places on the internet where you can do that.
Sure.
Where you can scream and shout about racism. And it's a good subject to scream and shout about it, but it's not our subject. So what we get accused of around here is that we don't take on these subjects sometimes.
Right.
And that's the accusation. That doesn't make us racist, because we do have our own thing, this Mgtow thing that we do. That's our, we called it single-mindedness. We have a single-mindedness of Mgtow. And we're always going to bring every subject back to Mgtow. I could tell you 10 different ways how racism affects Mgtow, but we can do that in a very short segment here. But I don't want that to overtake the Mgtow,
Well, and this is the thing too, Joe. I mean, the subject of racism keeps popping up, and I'm just drawing from 4 years that I've been around Mgtow. It's all cyclic, okay? And you know what? At the end of the day, you got to be able to break it down to what's the core of the individual man, and moving beyond that. Because again, we can draw the likes of architect, Black Mgtows who are actively involved. Even AWMs, Awakened Wild Mary types, namely the straight shooter, who are contributing, and they're transcending race through and through. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. And if anything, if Mgtow is in its infancy in its relation to that, we are breaking, and we're breaking those walls, we're breaking those barriers. Let's face it, we are international. We've got brothers, chiming in from India. Okay. And, and this is the thing, the language is, it comes down to, hey, me too. And it doesn't matter what language you say it or what culture, or what color of your skin is. Hey, I'm going through this too. That's it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Most of the time we're just speaking to an avatar here.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to an avatar I don't know most of the time, and I don't care who I'm talking to, as long as the quality of his conversation can keep up.
Yeah.
That's fine. I had some guy come over. I was talking on one of the other blogs, and he didn't know who I was. He's never seen my face. Most of you guys have seen my face, so you know who I am. But this guy didn't know, and he started calling me everything in the book from the perspective as I was black. He didn't know. And then when I was kind of giggling, like, and I know sometimes I'm probably blacker than a lot of guys sometimes, because I was raised in Cleveland. I was born and raised in Cleveland. What the hell do you think I'm going to talk like? But he didn't know, and that was the answer to racism right there. He had no idea that I wasn't black, and nobody knows. You're multicultural. Shining is multicultural. We have a very multicultural thing going here, and we don't care.
Joe, you know what? I'm multicultural, not by choice. Okay.
Yeah, not by
I just
choice.
fell into, and this is the thing. Sometimes we got to look at, hey, somehow, somewhere, we fell into these positions, and we might not even like it. But at the end of the day, I'm
Yeah,
drawing benefit. That's all I've known since I was, geez, since I was 6 years old, man, and I'm
yeah,
pushing 53. That's all I've known.
yeah,
That's all I've lived. I'm probably the
yeah,
first generation of globalizers,
yeah, yeah. If I could have,
nomads, man. So my
if I
experience
could,
is different from somebody who's grown up in a particular culture, right? You know.
yeah, if I could have picked my my designation at birth, my God, I would have picked probably a lighter browner skin where I can go in the sun all the time, lay around on the beach, and not get burnt.
Oh well, I can top that. I wish I always, for the most part of my life, I wish I was somebody else, because I didn't like my background, for this reason and that. And then I went to another culture, and I didn't like this and that and about the other. But
Yeah,
that in itself is the deliverance right there, for you,
yeah,
right? So for
yeah.
me, that's been my fault. That's been my objective, to awakening.
Yeah, so we all get we all get assigned what we get assigned by the genetic lottery, and that's determined by the copies our parents wanted to make of themselves.
Yeah.
Blame them. Blame their. Don't even blame them because the copies, whatever you find attractive, and it, that's the copy you're going to make, and that's what I am. The copy they made of their existence here on this planet, and
Hmm.
so I can accept that, and I can accept that in a lot of people, and but I am a Mgtow, and this is a Mgtow radio station and radio, and this is the Throwdown, and we talk Mgtow around here.
That's right. We don't pull punches. We're going to talk the full spectrum of things. We are a full spectrum of men, with varying intelligences. This is it. This is the real deal. And this is what we've been doing. And I think this before we went live, I think now, and I'm going to announce it now, that we're officially a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Since we
Hey,
got
let me do a.
since we slotted in on Sundays. And I just want to put this out to anybody listening and watching. I think we're right now, this Sunday is in fact our 1 year anniversary here, Throwdown. We were called the Health and Sciences Channel. We rebranded many times. At least I should take credit for that. I tried that, just
Yeah.
viewership. And we've been averaging about 35 guys, 35 to 40 guys coming into the chat here on Sundays, which is brilliant. And hopefully this second part is also promoting that too as well. But again, it's been mixed bag of guys, Joe, throughout the
Yeah.
year.
Oh God, we've had hundreds of guys in and out every week. We try to bring in a new guy, and that was the intentions from the beginning. Getting everybody here in here. Let everybody speak and say their Mgtow and tell them what they did. But it has been a year, and oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, guys. Okay. One more time, okay?
The Throwdown is officially 1 year. Well, unofficially, but officially 1 year. And it's thanks to everybody who's participated. And I think that's what it's about, Joe, is
Yeah,
giving
let's
you
give
gratitude.
some props to the regular guys, Shining Messenger, yourself. There's when we first started talking about this, we talked about bringing something that wasn't going to go away,
Yeah.
didn't we? That was we had to have a perseverance about us, a tenaciousness,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't care how big it is, and it's going to get bigger sooner or later. Someone's
It's
going to
going
want
to grow organically, Joe. And I think
to.
we're fitting in. We're just slotting in our little dialogue on Sundays. You know what I mean? And, it's a mixed bag. We don't know what's going to happen to some extent or other. But one thing
Yeah.
is for sure, there's enough evidence, there's enough showing that Mgtow is an organically grown phenomenon.
Yeah, and if Google would give us a bigger platform, I'm sure we would have that 9,000 viewers or 900 people listening. But hey, blame it on Google because Google's not going to give us that platform we need to get our message out. They're censoring us. We know it. They know it. Uh, so it is what it is. Yeah, I ain't never going to be Alex Jones because they're never going to give me that platform to be Alex Jones. Uh, this is Joe and Zeta. Can we have another 24-hour hangout? The 24-hour hangouts. Now that was something that was that's hard to do. I woke up at midnight that night, and by 12 o'clock in the afternoon, after talking for like 12 hours with a wide variety of guys, uh, it was fun. But boy, I'll tell you, I was exhausted after that, and I'd like to put another 24-hour hangout. We could do that for upcoming holidays. It'd be great to have a 24-hour hangout. Would be 4th of July or Easter or Christmas was kind of the one that we could all agree on. A bunch of Mgtow guys sitting around, just having to do that Christmas thing through being Mgtow and having to do that thing is quite rough on the guys. That's why we did that one. But hey, I'll go for it. If I can get anytime I can get 24 guys, I'll do it. And I'll do it for 12 hours. I think I could talk for 12 hours. And that sometimes probably not a good thing, but it's sometimes not a bad thing. I love Alex Jones. He is funny. Alex Jones is a funny guy. I listen to him once in a while. I don't personally like his voice. He's got that high pitched voice that I can't even. If Zeta will be back in a minute, I'm sure he just lost his bandwidth, and he has that high pitched voice there. He does a great show. He has a great group of guys behind him that put commercials in and take care of them, let them have short breaks and doing that stuff. That would be beautiful to do. Get a bunch of Mgtow guys that can do a radio station sort of effect, have callers call in, talk to it. We'll have some women. We almost had a woman on the show earlier. I was so excited about that. MJ was going to bring on this woman and talk to her about why she didn't want to take the morning after pill. And we're going to get her on, but that never happened. And I was like, that would have been a classic. That would have been a classic show to go and do. I think everybody would have really loved to have just heard a female point of view about male contraception. And the morning after pill is male contraception. We never really got into the scientific stuff about the morning after pill or what it does. It just forces a period. And you know how they act about that. They don't want to go through that. And they get very moody and bitchy about that and all that garbage. But it's something worth it. The guy was just coming into Mgtow that we had on. He was very blue pill or purple pill, not blue pill, but he was purple pill, and he was just learning how to do it. What did he give his name? Tyron or something like that? I can't even remember. I'll have to go back and look for you guys, and I'll look his name up again, and we'll have him on again and see how he progresses in Mgtow. And that's a good it's a good thing to do is get together with a guy, and when he first comes around Mgtow, and then you can see the art in it. What I like to look at is when you look at it's the same thing as looking at an artist. When you look at a Monet in the early years, you're looking at, and then you look at his later stuff, you go, oh, look what he's done with his stuff. And then you look at him later in his years, and he's mastered this one beautiful thing. And that's the same thing with Mgtow. When the guys first come around, they're not prepared for all this stuff that's going to come at them. So we just have to look and support these guys and then watch their growth, because that's where the beauty is, in their growth. And then someday a year, two, some guys get it very quickly. Guys that come from single baby mama homes and were raised in that horror seem to get it very quickly. And then we start putting these ideas together, and then they become very good Mgtows. But just watching and learning and learning how to develop our craft here is a good thing. Zeta's back in, but I don't know if he's got sound yet. Zeta, you got sound yet?
Yes. Can you hear me okay there, Joe?
Yeah, with the laptop took it.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. And my apologies, guys. My connection got stuck and I dropped off. So there might be some issues going on, like you said, Joe, with Google regulating our bandwidth and shit like that.
Yeah. By the way, that's how they that's how they restrict us from talking to everybody. They regulate our bandwidth, and if you guys know about that, we only get a short, we only get a box. That's the Mgtow box, and if that Mgtow box is 30,000 guys, that's the only people that get to see us. The regular, when you look at some of those gamers sometimes, and you see 900, 1,000 people in there. They've got a huge box they're placed in, and then they get front page coverage. Mgtow is censored. We're not going to get front page coverage on the YouTube page. Mm-hmm. Our box isn't that big, but I thought they were going to increase it this year. They sent us letters out, notifications that they were doing something with the size, and they call it something very different. I can look back on my messages and see what they call it, but they didn't do that.
No, they sent you. Hold on, Joe. Sorry, let me be clear. They sent you a message that they were going to regulate bandwidth on the number of viewers on your channel along those lines. Can you clarify?
Yeah, right around those lines. What we get streamed to, who they pick to stream us to, who they pick to. That's all designated by the size of the group and anybody in that group. So if they identify with you to be a Mgtow or a Mgtow associated person, they'll put you in that box. And that's the viewers you're going to get. It's like when you look around, you can see Sandman is at 42. You can see GWW is at 42. They'll always land up at the same amount of numbers because you can't go over that number. Mm-hmm. And the biggest you can get around here, from my estimation, would be 42. Now, you start including other things in your message, and like Sargon did, and you'll get up to that 113,000 and everything. But he's got a different message there, doesn't he?
He's got a different message going on. He's got his own viewers, and
related
subjects, but you're not exactly in our camp, so to speak.
He's not in our camp. He gets the SJW, and then he associates that.
SJW oriented. That's right.
He started off with the atheist group, didn't he? And the atheist group is very large here.
Yeah,
so he gets a bigger box than we do.
That's right. I mean, this is spelling. If they're going to keep on censoring, I think we need to have a separate discussion eventually on getting our own servers and our own, our own version of YouTube, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we've been talking about that. I was just thinking about that.
Private net.
About
lighting a cigar there, Joe.
Yeah, I'm lighting a cigar. I was just thinking about that on the way up. Eventually, if we ever get these guys, and there's a lot of things you can do in Mgtow to help this thing out, and eventually, if Mgtow Forums is able to buy themselves a Seagate, one of those Seagate drivers, and they're not very expensive. We're talking $60,000 to $100,000.
I'm sorry, Joe. This is for like a server?
Yeah, for a server in the server area. If we can eventually buy our own servers, and then we attach to a common core, we do a common core attach everybody to.
Right.
We could, but we'll have to pay for electric. We have to pay for storage. We have to pay for somewhere to put it. We have to
for
pay
co-location. That would fall under co-location, right?
Yeah, but I think Mgtow can pull that off with under $1 from every guy a month.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a proposition. How much would a Seagate server cost?
I've been out of I used to know all those prices back in my day in telecom. I've been out of it for over 7 years running my own business now, which is completely different. So, that's a question to put out there, Joe. I mean, I'm just looking at some of the notes here in chat. Dr. McCoy, dark web already has something like YouTube. So something in the dark web scenario we might be able to look at. I mean, this is up for discussion, eh, Joe?
Yeah. If we could put that together eventually, I'd like to see that put together. But I was just going to look at business. What it has to be, and then you have to have the T3 cable or T2.
A T3 connection, yeah.
T3.
T3 connection. But I think now things have evolved to fiber optic, to fiber, and that's pretty much throughout North America. Well, pretty much worldwide. I know Europe's got their own fiber networks going. That's the standard now, pretty much, Joe. So again, it's looking in and out. There are definitely guys out there, I'm sure, that could give us, could be good consultants on this, and and just getting some feedback in general. The eventuality, if it gets to the point that they're going to censor us, that we can't operate, and they're going to be banning guys left, right, and center. I mean, that eventuality is it's up in the horizon there. So I'm just saying that to be aware of that, not to go paranoid, but be aware of that.
I'm looking at a diligent system here. We're looking at 1.9 gigahertz. It's a TMX it's a 6-core. It's got I don't even know how much storage. It looks like it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got 16, probably 12 12 terabytes in there, and it's $6,000, $7,000. It's a good start, because you know how this thing happens. You start stacking these things.
That's right.
But
when it comes to that point, we're probably going to need some kind of that's the part we probably need to get organized, which we kind of dread in a way. Mgtow ought to never be organized.
Now we know
12 steps. But eventually you need something in place to accommodate that.
Yeah, the running system, the operating system is regular operating systems, and you run them from a regular computer. One guy can sit there and take care of it, but you have to pay that guy.
Well, that's just it. I mean, there might be guys who are tech savvy and have already something in place that might be able to offer, some support there in that area. This is up for discussion.
I think Mgtow, God, I can't remember his name. Mgtow forums. Now they went and bought their own servers. He's running servers out of his house. That's why he can do what he can do, and so it's not unobtainable. It's something that's.
Yeah, Dr. McCoy is chiming in. He says we can use talks. I don't know what that is. It's like Skype, but underground and encrypted. So there are means out there. And like I said, let's be ready for that. If we get, like I said, if we're going to get snuffed out. Out of YouTube.
And eventually, that's going to happen.
What's that?
Yeah, we're gonna get censored down to the point of almost nothing. When will we be able to? When I look up and I'm only affecting a few guys because they're only allowing me to speak, and they've already done that.
Yeah.
They censor my comments now. And they censor me, and Shining went over this. They censor my comments, and they censor what we say and all that stuff. But oh God,
you know how to test that, Joe? Is we announce a podcast in a week or so about censorship in YouTube, and then after we do the podcast, let's see how much got censored.
Yeah, you can do it right now. If you click off, go to any one of your local, whatever you're watching, and look at the comments, and then go incognito, come back to that same, copy and paste that video, bring that video up incognito, and look at the comments, and you will see at least half the people gone. And I've noticed, like, if I'm talking, they won't bring in Messenger. They won't put Messenger's comments on. If Messenger's in already, his comments won't go on. If Shining's in already, I'm not allowed to talk on that.
That sounds peculiar. That sounds to me like we're definitely being watched.
Yes,
we are. There's got to be one or two or more individuals, watching over and putting basically putting the nipple clamps on.
The kibosh on us.
I just got a message from Shining. Joe Shining will be joining us soon. So let's bring him.
Oh, look at
Speaking of the devil himself.
Oh, I'm looking at these servers now, and it's like this McAfee security-based server M7 chassis, $46,000. This is a beast. Now you can buy the Lenovo system to go with that, and the expensive Lenovo with that, and you could probably spend a couple hundred. Let's go all out, for spending everybody else's money. We could probably go with the Apple i7 to run it, and I don't know how much space that would give us, but $46,000, I think Mgtow can get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's just a question of time. Let's keep in mind that the pool of Mgtows are the ones that haven't realized they're Mgtow as yet. And they're the vast majority. We're just a small group of guys talking about it online on YouTube.
Yeah, you know, as we go along, if I want, it wouldn't be no problem for me to say, if I want to have the Traversable Mgtow channel on the Mgtow server network,
Yeah.
me paying $39 a month or $39 a year or something is no big deal.
Absolutely.
Because I spend that, I spend 6 times that amount, 20 times that amount around here just doing what I do on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, getting programs, getting software, buying this, an app here and app there, right? Everything ties in, man.
Yeah, right. I just spent, $1,200 on this piece of junk that I got. Plus, I got the in case this one goes down, I bought the Asus for meetings, which I really kind of press. If you're going to do webcasts and podcasts, go get the Asus for meetings.
I'm going to look into that, Joe. Thanks for pointing that out, because I got to get my stuff upgraded. I'm on the market for a new laptop that'll be versatile enough to handle all kinds of things. Since my life is pretty much mobile.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, you're mobile and everything. You got to have a phone line or a cable line for the Asus.
I do. I do. I'm working with tethering, wireless connections to my Note, to my little tablet, which I'm using as a GPS. Working in transport. So I'm doing some funky things and funky research, man, with what's available. So
yeah. So So in essence, what I have spent, in the last year is nothing compared to, us opening up. If we all open up, if we all get together and start opening up this bigger Mgtow thing that we all talk about all the time, it wouldn't be that much of a problem. Oh, look at this.
I don't think it is, but I think what's important and what we're talking about is just to consolidate our thoughts for that eventuality, and because definitely censorship is not a part of Mgtow. We don't censor. We're not PC, right?
Yeah, we're not PC. We want to be able to say that. Hey, we can go up in price here now. We can go with the Dell PowerEdge M1000, 16 times M620, and that's I can't even tell you the numbers of RAMs on that, and the number of gigabytes. It's X times 900 times 10,000.
Oh. It's serious. It's serious, RAM. It's
serious,
what exactly what we need to do.
Yeah, and this is $98,000. Let's all pitch in $2 then a piece, and then we can put we can put a nice But with that, that we have to have space. And I was looking at a building today that I was thinking about going with, buying anyways. It's a little storefront I was looking at. I was up there standing there peeking in the building today thinking about if I wanted to mortgage my house and what I was going to do with the money I have. I don't want, in this and everything. And that storefront would make a great little Mgtow storefront.
Yeah, why not? Hey, Shining has joined us here. Shining, how are you?
Evening, gentlemen. Evening or afternoon if you're in the US. Yeah.
Hey, Shining, I really like that new avatar with the fire burning.
Yeah, Joe thinks it's new.
It's not new. I know it's not new.
Avatar from last year, Shining.
For last year, yeah. I've got a few stored up there just to mix it up a bit when things get a bit dull.
Yeah, that's nice to look at. It's like what's that program you buy during Christmas and stuff to put on your TV where it just runs the fireplace all the time?
Yeah, I like those little.
They got the fireplace 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I noticed they had it in MP3 now too.
The fireplace channel.
Yeah, the fireplace channel.
Yeah, I like those little timeout screensavers.
Yeah.
And, obviously there was that fish tank one where all these hackers started to build these to build their little hacks inside those screensavers. So then people stopped using them because they were full of viruses. But while they were there, they were really nice, and you could like add all your own little fish into the fish tank, and instead of having a real fish tank, you could just install it onto your computer.
You can get that on Amazon. The fish tank. I was looking at it the other day. I was like, oh, what am I going to put up on my screen here? and I see the fish tank. But I always keep the rotating beautiful photography going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just listening to you guys saying it's been a year since this podcast. Yeah, you said it
Yes,
started
Shiny, you play an important role there too. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
I did it because Dimitri he slowed his podcast. You guys remember Dimitri Vinciov?
Yes, that infamous podcast with MJ, the
Oh,
anti-feminist.
yeah.
Involved from there, Shining. Maybe you can.
Yeah, he used to do them every week, and then he slowed right down. And I said, "Well, what's going on? You know, people, because obviously guys don't realize or guys don't know, Dimitri and MJ, the anti-feminist, they left Mgtow last year. But before they did, they used to do regular weekly podcasts.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Mhm.
This podcast started from Dimitri's and MJ's podcast, went to you.
It went to me, and then when Dimitri slowed right down, says, "You know what? I'm going to do it," because that's what he said when I used to complain to him. He says, "You know what's going on?" He says, "People watch your shit." They didn't. Back then it was like 5 or 6 people used to
Yeah.
watch.
Hey,
But
Shining.
I just did. I started. I said, "You know what? I'm going to do my own then."
Hey, Shining. Someone at the door for you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then I took it on, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna make it really good. I said. So I started getting. Got Paul Potius on. I got Mgtow.com on. I got Barbarossa. I tried to get hold of Spetsnaz. Tried to get hold of Stardusk. Tried to get hold of Sandman. I tried to get everybody who was in the Mgtow sphere involved in that, and I got most of them. The only person that refused, I don't know if you could say refused. Yeah, Stardust was the only one that refused.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Shame on
speaking
you,
of
Stardust.
Proteus, we now have a slot here. It's called the second part of the throwdown, and then we understand that there's a 3-4 hour time change. Paul, if you're listening in, we'd like you in, bro.
Yeah, I get the feeling Paul's taking a bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, where is Paul?
Which is probably really good. Now, he replied on the on my last video, the Christian message to us, and he left a really nice comment there. Really good, typical Paul Proteus synopsis of what he heard, and it's just brilliant. Go and visit, check it out.
A lot of guys listening in might not know who Paul Proteus is. Who are you guys talking about?
That's what was his name?
Well, that ties in with that question about racism. If going back about half an hour ago, Leonard, I think it was, about racism. Talk to Paul Proteus and watch some of his videos about racism because they're absolutely brilliant. Highly endorse them.
Now, Paul Proteus is a good example of what I was talking about. When you were listening to H.H. Calgary and he was doing his blue mic, tone of voice, very whitish and everything, you would never even know. And then he came out and he's like, there was Paul Proteus, and everybody was going, oh, but you didn't know, you had no idea. And Paul's a great guy.
Yeah, he's very popular.
Paul has probably offered some insight and helped moved a lot of guys forward. I mean, you want to talk about breaking racial barriers. Paul Proteus is the man for that. Very grateful to the man for what he.
I just found that, what's his name? That comedian, that black comedian that did the black white supremacist. Come on, you guys must know it.
Now I know there was Devlin for a while. Devlin the comic was around for a while, and then there was I know there was another guy that was trying to do the comedian thing.
No, David Chappelle, that's it. David Chappelle. I mean professional comedian. Yeah,
professional.
I just the black-white supremacy. I mean, that was pretty telling. The guy thought he was white, and then he joined this white supremacist because he was blind. It was a blind black guy, and he thinks he's white, so he's been brought up. He was an orphan, and he's brought up in a white orphanage, and he was taught to be racist against black people, and he spent his entire life thinking he was white. it's a comedy, of course, but it just points to the ridiculousness of racism. And I think most Mgtow, at least 90%, absolutely against, absolutely abhorred with racism. So don't worry, guys. If you see some racist shit bandied about, it's nothing to do with us. It's not us at all. In fact, I've kicked out any racist comments in my channel. I block the guy immediately. I don't care if people call me an echo chamber, but we need to move forward with this shit. You know, we can't be going back into the 18th century about what color skin this guy is or what country he's from.
Yeah, we'll keep talking about it in order to shed light. We'll take the topic on any time, as long as that it sheds light and men can move beyond it. That's it.
Well, obviously, the only reason why we're talking about it today is because TFM pulled out a great video, a great couple of videos. Yeah, obviously, he did his fishing video where he was sort of laying the trap and seeing how people would react in his first race, called Racism is Retarded. I presume everybody knows who TFM is. And then he watched how many subscribers he lost. I actually said to, I think in the comment section I said to TFM, "You've got too many racists on your channel." And then on his last one I said, "I'd have 19,000 subscribers if I hadn't blocked all the racists on my channel."
Yeah, I just unblocked everybody last week.
Oh, you can't do that.
Yeah, and then I reblocked. You know who I reblocked? I had to go back and reblock one guy. It was Alex Brown. I had to reblock him because that's like telltale. It's like the only guy I had to go back and reblock is Alex Brown.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely right. I mean, we're in a public forum here. We're gonna get the crazies, and there's no way you're gonna get on with every single person, no matter how hard you try.
No, I just don't like that guy, anyways. You ever have a guy that you just don't like?
Yes.
It's like no matter what he said.
I love everyone.
Oh, I love everybody. No, he's that special guy in the neighborhood. If he was in my neighborhood, I would beat him up every time I seen him. if we were on a football team, and I was a linebacker, I would smear him. If he was on a basketball team, I would dunk right into his face because he's just that guy. He's got that face. He's that guy that I would just do that to.
Yeah. I mean, we've grown substantially. The Mgtow community has grown substantially, and we've attracted a lot of crazies, and also a bit of unwanted attention as well.
It's on a daily basis, really. You just put in a search on a daily basis, you're going to get the crazies, and then you get these golden nuggets, of guys, wow, just came on fresh, and wow, that's a fresh message. That's what keeps me coming back. Yeah. We had one on today earlier. He was just brand new to the Mgtow scene. He was just getting it. It's like, oh, cool. That's what I was talking about earlier. We get to watch him grow. We get mature in Mgtow. We can watch his wealth grow, his health grow, his moral understanding of the world grow, and they're like our children, aren't they?
They're like our brothers. Like
our brothers. We get to watch that, and sometimes there's a failure. We all have the.
Well, let's cast our minds back from a year. I mean, who's been like the great Mgtow channels of 2015? First one that comes to mind is Black Gnostic Speaks. He was on here a couple of weeks.
Okay. Yeah, he's put on some compelling work.
And then,
always welcome here.
Messenger.
Messenger turned up last year.
Messenger? Who's that? Messenger?
We had I Am Bal. He's still doing some great videos, that guy. I've been catching up with his stuff this week, and wow, man, he's still got all that passion in, and he talks about the situation. It's very, very American specific, his material. I mean, it just gives me an idea what's good.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we can look at probably the best result of he was in our program from the start. I guess he was a very shy young man, And you all know him now as at first he didn't want to talk much. He had 300, 400 viewers, and he was wondering how to do that. You know who I'm talking about, Shiny, don't you?
No, who are you talking about?
TFM.
No, he wasn't that. He was no, he was. I think he was pacing himself. I remember
Yeah,
him right at the beginning. He was pacing himself. He was, he was happy to join in all the time. I
Yeah,
think
he would sit back and just listen and
I remember the first time he jumped. In fact, I remember the first two times he jumped in. Turkman was there, Paul Wilson was there, and they just took the piss out of him. I thought, oh great, he's
oh
never going to
God.
come. He's never going to come back in. And the second time come back in, they still took the piss out of him, but they were still nicer to him. But I'm glad he stuck around.
Yeah, see, that's the perseverance. You give a little perseverance around, you never know where your channel is going to go. Yeah, the guy says CS. CS was one of his first appearances, and Mgtow was right on this throwdown, wasn't it?
In fact, yeah, I've still got the podcast. I think it's one of my mid ones. If you guys want to check my channel, I've put it
Yeah,
under the podcast.
check out Shiny's channel and go back and look and see who's been through. Nico Chosky, remember when Nico Chosky was just a young little Mgtow boy?
I remember he was. He came on, yeah, and we welcomed him on. In fact, again, one of the first podcasts he jumped in is on my channel. You guys can check it out, and yeah, he said some profound things. Yeah.
Yeah, I said that this week. I says everybody's got to come through the throwdown eventually. You got to.
We got some new guys coming up. We got Fred Nugent.
Fred Nugent. I was trying to have him on this week, but he never got back to me. I'd still like to have him on.
Yeah, the Korean guy.
Korean guy. That would be very interesting. He looks like he plays guitar. He's a new Mgtow, just kind of getting into
This is not good enough, guys. Nugent is not a Korean name, guys. It's a Vietnamese name.
That is a Vietnamese.
I was testing you guys.
What was the name again, Shiny?
Nugent.
Nugent? N-U-G-A-N?
Nguyen.
Oh, Nguyen. Yeah, that sounds Vietnamese, man.
Yeah. We just everybody with the name spelled in America like that, we just call him Gwen.
I know. Yeah, and as Thingy brings up, 5-speed manual, high 5-speed. Heartburn, obviously, great addition.
Yeah,
and
great addition.
I was watching Pastor, what's his name? Pastor Dowell today. I was watching Pastor Dowell, and I just clicked. That's where Heartburn gets his. That must be where Heartburn gets his inspiration, because Pastor Dowell sounds exactly like him, and he talks about guns and how they're going to have to pry the guns out of their dead hands if they're going to take them.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, and of course, I managed to. I think one of my proudest moments of 2015, I managed to pry Zeta out of the shadows.
Yeah.
First time he ever spoke. The first time he spoke was when I pulled him onto one of my podcasts.
Yes, that was about the same time you got this other jerk called Traversable on.
Yeah, no, yeah, Joe was one of the last ones to jump on my.
Yeah, he was the last one. Look where he's taken it now. And then he took over for me in the summer there when I started getting busy, and you've run with it, and it's been on your channel since.
Yeah, we got to get more diverse in here and just keep bringing guys in around, and it's the diversity is just wonderful, and we try to bring in a new guy. We had a new guy this morning. What was his name? I forgot already.
Insensitive bastard.
Insensitive bastard, and then I talked to Mgtow Oracle yesterday, and he's new in the scene.
Hey, we got Howard there in the room.
Hello,
Howard. I think we've sent you an invitation to join us in our second part here, please.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. It's in your private comment box in your comment area. Probably.
Please feel free to join us, and we can definitely continue this. But yeah, we're reminiscing about, we're recollecting the year here.
I was just listening to why Thingy left, the Thugtician. I was listening to yeah, some guy was saying he's still around, he still makes videos, but he was saying the Thugtician left because he felt there was some racism going on as well. So I was quite sad to hear that. I thought he was stronger than that.
Yeah, he felt that he was being censored by YouTube, and he really was. Uh, they took him down quite a few times. You would go 1 week to listen to some of his videos, and it wouldn't be there, and he had to put it all back up. And then you go the next week, and they just kept hammering the Thugtician into submission. And boy, that would be a good. That I'd just love to talk to that guy. He was like,
He was British,
Who was
wasn't
that?
he?
Sorry.
He was British as well.
yeah,
Tactician.
Thugtician.
Oh, Thugtician. Yeah. I remember him back in the day.
Yeah, well, he was one of my first influences around the YouTube Mgtow scene, and boy, I thought what a powerful message he had.
Hmm.
Mm.
There's, you know, we got to round up some of those classics, Joe, from 6, 7 years ago. You know, because those were gold nuggets, and really they were foundational. You know, for getting things going. I remember one guy did. You know, he did a series on well, it was True Forest loneliness related, but on incels, you know, involuntary celibacy.
Okay.
Amazing stuff. I forgot his name. I'd have to look him up. But, you know, it's a question of compiling some of the, you were doing that too, Shiny, for a time. We were on a kick there, introducing some of the old Mgtow classics.
Well, another channel that popped up last year was No No No. He's going through a few difficulties at the moment. If anybody lives in his area and they've got a spare room, you know, they could put him up. You know, what's going on with you guys, the Mgtow US over there? You know, help each other out. I mean, if he lived anywhere near me, he could come stay with me, no problem.
Yeah. I always tell guys if you're in my area, I have 4 beds here, and 4 beds are made for Mgtows, and the 4 beds are made for if anybody in the Ohio area or even up to Chicago, if you can get down here, or we can round up some money to get you a ticket, and you end up homeless. Please use this resource you have in Mgtow, and you know, a lot of us guys do have rooms and beds, and we do have enough food, and we're well taken care of, and we have enough room for another Mgtow on the scene. If No wants to move down to Ohio,
Yeah, he seems like a decent chap. He's been around long enough for us to get an idea what he's like. But one channel that's popped up and it's gone from strength to strength is the Backlash, the self-proclaimed Native American mixed race. He's been making videos consistently, and he does a great feminist impression. If you go back to he stopped doing them now. He stopped doing them now, but if you go to his old videos, they're absolutely hilarious, and that's what hooked me onto his videos. But yeah, he's been making a lot of videos, and obviously Marcus turned up last year.
Yeah, Marcus turned up. Yeah, what a great Mgtow channel he's got. Very
Yeah.
And
Now,
speaking of turning up, we've got Howard Dare who's just shown up. Howard, welcome.
Hi. Can you guys hear me okay?
yes,
and
fine. Good audio. Good audio there.
Awesome. Great to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Thanks for being here.
Anytime.
Yeah, we were just reminiscing about the 2015 and how that went for the throwdown, and this is kind of the birth date of the throwdown this day. So we were giving ourselves applause for doing it a whole year.
well,
Happy
maybe Howard could tell us what channels he got introduced to Mgtow through.
Yeah, let's hear it, Howard. How you got in on all this?
Absolutely. Great to be here. Happy birthday, you guys. Happy anniversary.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Pleased to be here.
Welcome, brother.
Yeah, I mostly got into Barbarossa's videos and some of the Girl Writes What videos, some of the MRA videos, and I really enjoyed those and watched those for a long time. And from those, I went into the Stardust videos, and then I started following all the Mgtow channels for a while, for about a year now. And to be honest with you, it was the lack of some Barbar videos that kind of made me say, well, I can go ahead. I can try to do this, and encouragement from some of your guys' channels, about just bringing new Mgtow videos in. So, that's where I come from, basically.
Oh, can I just quickly ask about your avatar? Is that your rendition?
No, it's a render from a 3-dimensional modeling program It's the Michael 4 model from the DAZ 3D rendering, and I love to do three-dimensional graphics and stuff like that.
Is it your work?
No, it's just
Okay.
my putting the model up there, setting up the lights, and doing the render.
Okay.
But it's not my model itself.
Okay. I was going to say it's quite impressive.
So I was saying, you're a handsome man. Yeah, so that's the DAZ. I always wanted to check out the DAZ and see what they could actually do in that. Can you incorporate DAZ into anime 9 or 11?
Oh, sure. Well, you can incorporate, once you've
The figurines. Yeah.
I believe you can import them, and you can get some of the animation rigs, moved across. But you can certainly just, do whatever work you want to do in any sort of, program, and then incorporate the video.
Yeah. Because I'd like to take myself and put it on there, and then make myself really, really good looking, like Matthew McConaughey good looking, and then just.
Oh, you don't need that,
Yeah.
Joe. You don't need that. Just you guys just reminded me. You were talking about alternative media in case YouTube shuts us down.
Yeah.
The mayor was talking about CB Chat, which is an application you can install on your phone. Over in the UK, you've got it's called Zello, ZELLO. If you install that, that's exactly the same as CB Chat, and there's a couple of Mgtow channels on there. They're all totally empty because they've just been set up. But yeah, there's that possibility as well. So
yeah. Do you think Mgtow eventually is going to have to get servers?
not necessarily. I think
wherever we go, it's just going to be the same old over and over again, where we're getting censored.
I think the nature of Mgtow just makes it kind of evasive. I mean, if it gets to the point where the label becomes synonymous with getting taken down, we can just remove the label, and the things we talk about is not necessarily inflammatory. We're not really saying
that's the
anything
thing.
else.
Yeah, we're not saying anything that's not true. It's just how we say it, and they don't like how we say it.
I think what will get us into trouble is the effects of Mgtow. When, like, for example, I always point to the Japanese guys. Obviously, in Japan, they're thinking, how to tackle it, and obviously one way to tackle it, one way to tackle the Soushaku Kodanshis, the herbivore men, their philosophy is to make it illegal. Obviously, they can't do that because it's just not constitutional, and it's the same over in the UK and the US as well. All they can do is demonize the name, and I think good. The more they demonize it, the more men will find it, I think.
Yeah, that's sort of a good view. But I have grandiose dreams about this. Someday having the $90,000-$100,000 server running, where we got a T3 cable going to our fiber optics into the web.
Believe it or not, it's not expensive. I mean, instead of getting a dedicated server and server blades and all that stuff, you could just get a dedicated PC. You can convert a normal PC into a server. It's just it's just a dedicated hard drive.
Yeah. How many? I don't know how many terabytes. You'd probably have to have well over 40, 50 terabytes to serve all of Mgtow. But man,
it's possible.
But
it's possible.
Just having the $90,000 system where that thing's like, and it's kind of cool. I would just stare at it.
But the problem is, if Mgtow goes down that route where we're getting shut down, and they can only shut us down if they've got a legal standpoint, they can raid your servers as well. They can just go to your IP address and just raid your server.
Yeah, but it would make it really. That would be the ultimate government censorship. Then that would be like, I think the community in general would say no, you can't take down these guys' servers, because I can't remember anybody ever having their servers taken down.
The Pirate Bay are currently going through that. The Pirate Bay. There's a few others.
That's because they're doing malicious actions.
No, they're a political group, Pirate Bay. Did you know that?
Yeah,
they're an official political Swedish group where they're trying to make their standpoint is the freedom of information. They think all information should be free, regardless of copyright or governments.
They're pushing the copyright and everything. But for Mgtow,
I'm absolutely on board with them. I'm absolutely on board.
Free internet and
because the the DMC and all those and all those guys, they're saying copyright protects the intellectual property of the artists. But the thing is, over in China and Malaysia and all that area where there is no copyright, artists, they still make music, they still make films. Hong Kong's got one of the biggest film industries in the world, and there's no copyright over in China.
There's no copyright.
You can just pirate all their films. YouTube obviously it's an excellent example of how you can fund music and video production without copyright. Obviously, you just make your video and you ask for donations is one, and obviously there's the pay-per-view, which UFC is doing as well, and UFC put all their fights online. I mean, they've just put out the Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holm one. So if you haven't seen that, go to the UFC channel and watch that. And that's the one where the mayor of Mgtow, his channel got taken down because he showed a clip. He showed like a 3-second clip of the fight. So.
Oh, I'd love to see that in Mgtow. We can have Mgtow fighters against feminist fighters. I could take any feminist. I swear to God. You bring him on. I'll go in the ring with any feminist.
I can't see YouTube endorsing that.
Yeah, see, that's why we have to have the Mgtow servers. I bet you it would be the most popular show on TV.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Mgtow's doing quite well at the moment. I know you mentioned the comment censorship, but I think that's across YouTube. I think that's just to separate the people who don't want to see like swearing in the comments, or don't want to see like offensive things in the comments. And I think YouTube's been doing that for a while, though.
Yeah, they're doing it a lot now, aren't they? They're overdoing it right now because we've went over and we've looked, and most of our comments that get taken down are not even. There's no swear words. There's nothing offensive about them. There's just an ideology in there that they don't like.
Yeah, obviously it's connected to the account. Your account must be categorized as some type of a level 3 hardcore, likely to offend type of a channel.
Yeah, I'm a level 3 terrorist on YouTube.
Well, here's an interesting question I'd like to direct to Howard. Since you're recent, within the past month and a half, have you noticed any blowback in terms of any signs of censorship from YouTube and your content there, Howard?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I've been taking my cue from some of the other channels, like Turd Flinging Monkey, or even Lacey Green. Okay, because she swears all through her videos. You know what I mean? She uses more curse words than I would ever use. And I haven't heard anything, and I plan to be fairly outspoken. You know what I mean? I don't plan to use highly offensive language, but I plan to use some highly offensive ideas.
Yeah. Well,
if they're gonna,
has been, is good for that effect, and that's why I question Howard is to see, if you're gonna get some blowback from this, because I don't see anything offensive in what you're putting out. In fact, it's great content, and the delivery is just right. You're right. You are, delivering controversial topics.
Yeah. Why is that Lacey Green and even let's say Jenna Marbles? Why is it that Lacey Green or Jenna Marbles can swear just endlessly in their videos, and then they get the big box where they can get the 100 million people watching, but we don't swear at all, and we get the little box of Mgtow that they don't want us hearing? Why is that so? If you're going by the rules and the laws of where YouTube is in the United States and California, there are certain words that you can't say in the public. The F word and the C word, I pretty much think, and those are banned. And I can see that censorship on that level, but they use those words all the time.
Ruby was talking about some type of censorship as well. He's talking about where's the fair use. I mean, there's no doubt there's certain channels that are favored by YouTube than others. There's certain channels that get special treatment. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, it must be just this categorization that YouTube are going through. But I wonder where I'm at. I wonder if my comments are removed.
I think yours are pretty much. Yeah, I think we went over. I think I looked at some of your comments and they're gone. You're hanging around with a bad crew.
Yeah, I know TFM. He's in the same category as Messenger.
Yeah.
Couldn't a user delete their own comments?
Yeah. They could, but no. What we do is we look at the comment section using our logged in with our channel with our accounts, and then we'll go into the same video and look at the comment section using being logged out, and it will show totally different comments.
I understand.
So obviously there's a disparity between what we can see and what other accounts can see.
Yeah, and it seemed like if they allowed my comments, they wouldn't allow Messenger's comments. If they allowed Shiny's comments, they wouldn't allow my comments. So if there's too much of whatever they consider bad in a certain area, they censor.
I don't know. It does seem quite complicated.
That's amazing.
It's overly convoluted, but yeah, you guys can try it. Go to my last video when which video was it when you were Messenger commenting? Yeah, well, just go to a video where Messenger, TFM, or Traversable's commenting, and then log out and just look at the comments again, and you'll see it's all changed.
Yeah. It's amazing. That would be an incredible thing for them to be doing. You know what I mean? And you'd have to ask yourself, why would they be doing something so crazy? And then, if you figured that out, then you would have to figure out a way to get around it without triggering them seeing it.
I was trying to figure that out last week, how I can get around making comments and doing that, because I've minimized my comments now, since no one's going to see them anyways. And trying to figure out what I would have to do. One thing, it worked for like one day, and then they caught it back up to me, is I erased everything on G+. And then it was like one day I was allowed to comment, and then the next day they caught up with me again.
I don't really have a clue what's going on here yet. I'm just making the videos and, moving forward with that and hoping that I'll figure out the rest of the stuff as I go along, but it's not working out so great.
Oh, no, you're doing fine. Keep
going.
Yeah, so what we have to worry about with this is, okay, say somebody that's approved by YouTube, and let's just give out a PewDiePie. If PewDiePie goes Mgtow, and then he comes around, and he's approved by Mgtow, that's all the message you're going to see. Now, when you think about what's going on now, Sandman is approved by Mgtow, and that's all the message that goes out. That's all the message. Do you want somebody like Obsidian or oh God, a half blue pill guy coming in to Mgtow, and then all of a sudden YouTube approves them, but that's all the message anybody in the world sees is this half blue pill, half Mgtow message.
Purple.
Yeah, it's a purple pill message. Yeah. But that's where true censorship. That's what we in the United States call prior restraint, and that's in our First Amendment. That is the biggie that you can break when you prior restrain people from having the freedom of speech. You're actually doing something that's in our Constitution that you should go to jail for.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that. Okay, so what did you say there, Joe? You said, would we be happy if a more socially accepted channel gave a more socially accepted version of Mgtow, just so it could be uncensored?
Right. Yeah. Say PewDiePie comes around, or someone. What's that? What kid? Unician.
Oh yeah.
He would do it. Yeah.
Hey bro, or Onion, we call him.
Yeah. Yeah. He comes around, and all of a sudden he's got a Mgtow message. But he's already accepted by Mgtow, and that message gets accepted. Everybody in the world is going to think that that's the Mgtow message.
Yeah, that's right. They're gonna get it. It's all
They'll
gonna get
hijack it.
used. Yeah.
And
There is that danger.
there's a danger of these YouTube. It would be like having Lacey Greens say she's a Mgtow now, and then everybody starts listening to Lacey Green's Mgtow message, and that's what they think Mgtow is.
Mm.
She wouldn't get far if she opened up her comment section. And now we're going to talk about Mgtow. Shakes her tits.
Well, yeah, they would be able to. What they're doing now, they would be able to censor all the Mgtow content producer makers and make it look like we're all happy to be on board with this, because all of us are censored out in the comment zone.
I don't know. I don't know. I think YouTube has a good way of working its way out. I think well, just like Sandman. I mean, a lot of people come across Mgtow through Sandman, and then they find the other channels. I mean, the people will choose. Obviously, they'll pick and choose. I mean, it's not as if we're selling anything of any package. It's like people will just pick and choose what they like about Mgtow and just leave the rest.
Yeah. Now the reason they did this, and I looked it up, and I actually went and read about it. The recent censoring. They say they're eliminating spam.
Mm.
And if you had some spam like complaints, and that's how you silence somebody on your channel, you just click spam and they go away. It used to be. So if you have a lot of those complaints, but who's the biggest spammer in Mgtow?
I don't know who's the biggest spammer.
Come on.
Your buddy Alex Brown.
No, Spam Man.
What you think? Oh, what do you mean he spams? You mean it with his videos?
Spam Man, yeah, Sandman. He spams. He's the biggest spammer of Mgtow, and they let him go. So the guys that are actually violating the policies that they have in place, they're going to pick and choose who's violating that policy. And
what do you mean he spams? You mean he doesn't go into people's channels and put lots of comments everywhere?
No, yeah, well, that's their idea. They say putting comments as there is spam. Their idea of spam is really screwed up right now. When you can see someone can SEO the living bejeebers out of their channel, and that's real spam.
No, his SEO will obviously have to be legit. You can't do spam SEO.
Well, that's where they're going. What you're calling legit spamming is pretty soon we're just going to have Mr. Coffee selling us coffee makers here, and they'll be the legit people that are allowed to talk. But that's spam.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I really don't think that YouTube's going to take Mgtow down. It's just such a loose ideology. You just couldn't. I mean, there's aspects of the red pill, there's aspects of the MRA, there's aspects of men's health, there's aspects of psychology, there's so many. It just, Mgtow just touches upon so many areas.
It's open source is the term for Mgtow. It's all open source.
Yeah, I can't see Mgtow getting taken. Like I said, they could flag the label, but then I mean, you just drop the label then. I mean, we start noticing.
God, that's horrible too, isn't it? They would force us to drop the Mgtow label.
It wouldn't make too much of a difference, I don't think. I don't think it would make too much of a difference. We would just call it something else, like men's stuff or something.
Men's stuff would be great.
The New Templars.
Yeah.
The New Templars.
The New Templar Knights. We kick White Knight butt.
Yeah.
That's like all of the work we've done in the past. It would just be, kind of mute because we have to drop the Mgtow name.
I think the label is useful when you're trying to collect men to a certain place. So you're saying, when you're talking to somebody in public, maybe trying to introduce the concepts that we talk about, the discussions, you can just say, just search for Mgtow. But obviously, if we can't use the term anymore, it'll be quite difficult. So, search for the Shining Light on YouTube. Search for Messenger. Search for Sandman. It'll be a bit more. It'll just make the logistics just a little bit more difficult. But I don't think it'll be a problem. I honestly don't.
I agree. I haven't seen any censorship signs. You know, I don't have a lot of experience. I don't have, you know, any subscribers or anything like that. But, you know, Twitter has hired up Anita Sarkeesian to their, you know, Twitter Trust and Safety Council. Here's the thing. If they do censor, you know, the controversial people on Twitter, that will open the door for another, you know, competing product to come in to the market and say, you know, we'll let you do what Twitter does, and we won't censor you. You know, so I don't think YouTube wants to shut people down unnecessarily. I just wanted to add that.
Well, there's a source of revenue involved here, Howard. But then again, if it becomes officialized that Arnita Scar Squeeze one, you know, becomes you know, and her crew, I mean, and forms a crew around that. I mean, this is the initiation of a new browncoat movement. You know, these are the new browncoats, stormtroopers.
Scary.
You know, and that's scary. That's scary shit. You know, because I mean, on the topic of freedom of speech, you know, and this is not to, you know, I don't want to put anybody down, especially the younger folks, but I think there's a younger generation up there, man, that have no understanding of what's been involved in freedom of speech and what it really entails. You know, and to come out loosely and say, no, we want to change. We don't want you to talk like that now. You know. So I think it's being challenged right now.
Yeah,
the whole concept of freedom of speech.
I think what will likely happen is when YouTube gets more and more inundated by more and more channels, they'll start to get a bit more stricter on who they let on. I mean, right now they're not funding any political channels, any religious channels, so you can't monetize your. I mean, I think TFM he touched upon it. I don't think he realized what's happening. They're just not monetizing any political or religious or any sales type of a. You know, if you've got a business and you're trying to sell your business through YouTube, they're not going to monetize it anymore. I think. I mean, and then I think they'll start to be a bit more. There was like a couple of years ago they were saying. I was putting it across like if your video didn't get 100 views within a certain time, they take it down, but they scrap that. And if your channel didn't get a certain amount of subscribers, it will get deleted. But I think they scrap that as well. Because the reason why YouTube got so big was because everybody and anybody could just jump on. So it was such a universal like TV channel. I mean, imagine having like a CNN or Fox or a BBC or Channel 4 where you could watch literally whatever you want, and that's how YouTube started. And obviously they've gone away from that a lot more. They're a lot more stricter in what you can watch, but it's still quite a free media, free video and audio media. And if it loses that, if it gets known as another CNN, another BBC, then people would just turn off. People would just watch live feed or 4chan or what's it now, Vimeo. Well, maybe not Vimeo, but some other. I mean, there's hundreds of video streaming websites, and there's loads opening up across the world as well. So if things got messed up over in the West, maybe I know China's got Youku, because obviously YouTube was blocked in China, and they opened up their own YouTube called Youku, and Youku. Check that out if you got China.
They've actually got some full-length feature films playing through Youku. Last time I checked.
Oh, I'm surprised at how many films you can find on YouTube. I found all 6 Star Wars on some guy's channel in YouTube. I don't know how he managed to get through the copyright, but they're all perfectly HD, and there's none of it's missing, and somehow some people get through the censorship. So no, I mean, if you look hard enough, you can find almost anything on YouTube.
Well, and that's hopefully where things should go. Is everything should become open source, pretty much. But then again, some people are going to be impacted and are going to make a business out of that. But then again,
but imagine it, guys. I mean, could you imagine living in a world or society where there's no limit on, there is no copyright. You can watch whatever you want. You can download whatever you want. You can play whatever game you wanted. you can use whatever application. So, for example, any learning tool like CAD or Adobe, any of those programs, you can just download and learn how to use. I mean, that would be a fantastic. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah, that's pretty much the Linux community from back in the early 2000s and even before that. I mean, they're the ones that were leading the way, with all, keeping everything open. Everything in Linux is open source. All the programs, everything that you want to author, do, or create, it's all free. I kind of like that concept. It kind of applies here to Mgtow, not so much in the technological sense, but in terms of information. We are open source.
In fact, let's go all the way. Imagine a society without money. How that would, obviously you'd have to limit the amount of material wealth someone could accumulate. There'll be some system, but what springs to mind, I think Leonard McCoy would like this. It's the Star Trek. Star Trek is based around a world where there's no money, so people they take what they need and then they, like Oasis, say, go on their way.
Don't they have like credits or something they call them?
No, only when they go outside their solar system.
Off-world credits, and they use those. I never understood that system.
But on Earth, there's no money. On Earth, everybody lives without money, so you just go into your local coffee, whatever, and order whatever you want. The only danger is people would get fat, but there'll be something to work out. There'll be some limit.
Yeah, that's kind of unrealistic because they always show the guy in the shop and his girlfriend shopping, and they're drinking a free coffee and they're enjoying their time off. But who's going to do the steel work? Who's going to do who makes those coffee cups? A machine? Who makes the poor girl behind? She's not getting paid. Does she just like doing that?
Well, yeah, that's the idea they're trying to sell. They just want to put aside motivated self-interest, and they want to convince people that you would just be doing what you love to do, and you should be doing it for free, right? Yeah. No, but it doesn't work because nobody would get out of bed in the morning to go do that stuff.
Yeah, because I don't want to go to the steel mill, but the steel mill pays rather well, and it provides me with a certain, it provided me at the time with a certain income, but it's a living hell in there, and we do need these steel workers. It's like, how do you sort that stuff in that kind of, society?
It's like male-female relationships.
Yeah, the prisoners can do it, and then they take the idea, well, who can you make prisoners, and that'll be all the black guys.
No. Well, we can fantasize, can't we, guys?
Yeah, they'll do something really fucked up. They always do. People that do lighter than air work always want the people that do the real work to do the work.
Well, I don't know. I mean, our current system doesn't seem to be working all that well, with millions of homeless and jobless and crime. The justice system doesn't work. Crime on the rise and war and we need to do something. We can't just let things continue as they are.
Yeah, they all started going on like slave robots, sex robots, Orient whores.
Yeah, I think we're far from sex robots.
We're still. I think STEM technology is in the forefront right now in medical research, for example.
Though I did enjoy the film Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Still have to watch that. Still, that's on my must-watch.
Yeah, it's great fun.
Did you watch that thing on? I can't remember who put it up. The guy in New York City. He has the sex robot shop. And then the newscasters went in there, and he showed what he was doing and everything. And I think
that was a Vice. That was a Vice program.
Was it a Vice program? Yeah. It was censored in some places, but some people got to watch it. But he was already he's got a shop open in New York City with these sex toys, and they work all the way up to the range of you can buy, what was it, a $15,000 sex robot?
Yeah, the wax polymer. I think Japan leads.
Yeah, that's what they started the little show with. It was the guy and oh, the girl sex robot in front of the crowd answering the questions. It was like it was kind of mechanical, and it was kind of there was a glitch.
I don't know, because obviously I've always said that the sexual attraction and sex and orgasm is all in the mind, and
Yeah.
I don't know this. I mean, some guys, I mean, Joe, some guys they can. I'm not saying because you've got one, but some guys they can get off with like a little plastic doll.
the fleshlight, yeah, the little plastic doll too, the 18-inch plastic.
I know.
Yeah,
I
what
mean,
I always thought would be great was the robot thing taken to your refrigerator, and you walk up and you go, "Hey, Sally," and she goes, "Hey, Joe," and I go, "I'd like a sandwich," and the refrigerator makes you a sandwich, and that's where I want to see it taken. I wake up in the morning and I scream out, "Coffee!" and my house makes me a cup of coffee.
Well, we're still a ways off, ever getting to that point. I don't think we'll get there in our lifetimes, Joe.
Yeah. They have PLCs now. PLCs
is far more interesting.
Well, what I would like to see, and I think what we can do, and what is achievable within the near future, is for guys to start realizing and opening up and just exploring the fact that we can become men again. We can become or we can live lives without the necessity of this gynocracy and this oppression. I think that's what I'd like to see. And I like to see the start of that being that men getting along and realizing that there's no need to hate this guy over here just because of something that he believes or what he says. Just because he's talking, or just because of a discussion, you go and think, well, this guy, he should be dead. I think hopefully we should be like getting over that now. Obviously, you brought up the issue of racism. I mean, come on, man, it's 2016 and we still got guys thinking because he's got this colour skin, he's better than this guy who's got this colour skin. We should be well over this now. 2016?
We are, but that's just it, Shining. We are over that. We just happen to talk about it and get into heated discussions. But the foundation of what's happening here in Mgtow, the whole philosophy, the whole idea, is opening up. It's like looking through a deeply, a heavy lattice, fence. And what's happening is the slits are widening up, and we're starting to see clearer and clearer. That's the interpretation of Mgtow, and that's the direction I think we're going. We're still getting our sea legs, adjusted, so to speak.
Now Milo just did a good video on that just last week or something.
Milo Yiannopoulos?
Yeah, where he just sat down with the two feminists that wanted to censor everybody.
Oh, the one with Christina Hoff Sommers?
I can't remember if it was Christina.
That's the latest one. I think I watched a few minutes of that.
His thing was he just walked in and he said, "Grow a thicker skin, if you don't want to hear it, we need to open dialogue, and sometimes that open dialogue is harsh."
And we're getting used to that dialogue, Joe.
Freedom of speech.
Let's face it. We're talking at a level, and we've said this before. We're talking at a level that we weren't allowed to for some of us for decades. We knew this all the way along, but we were gag ordered. Okay. And even today, whether we go to our jobs and we live out in the analog world, we are censored. I mean, if I go into a particular situation with guys, and if the opportunity pops up where I can throw in a little bit of knowledge, I have to censor that. I have to be discerning, if I can release that or not, because people are not ready to be unplugged, to the level that we've unplugged and the way we're facing things. Red pill rage is an indication, it's a gateway, right, to what's yet to be discovered, in terms of opening up our mind, to where Mgtow is going.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. We need to open guys' minds. I mean, this silly, group hysteria where we believe whatever the government tells us, because, or we believe whoever's in power, and we all jump off the cliff, or we all dive into a war, or jump on a bomb. I think, I mean, we need to get past this, and I don't know. I think Mgtow's. I'm going to put my neck out there. I'm going to say Mgtow's the focus point of this, because we are men from every background, and I know you guys hear me say this all the time. Every background, every belief system, and we get together and we discuss anything and everything. But the problem is, I don't think we're quite there yet, because we can't talk about race, we can't talk about religion, and we can't and we can't talk about some other things as well.
No, but the point is, Shiny, is the fact that we will take on those topics. We haven't shied away from it, and we have created controversy. We've even lost friends in the process. But rest assured, we did not back down. We took it on.
We've lost so many friends.
Yeah.
Friends, long lost friends.
Just too hard for people to hear, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like I said, we need to be getting over this. I think sometimes, I think men are still quite emotional creatures. I know we don't like to think ourselves as emotional, but a lot of our motivation, a lot of our, a lot of our beliefs are based around emotion. I mean, no matter what belief system you've got, a lot of it was because you felt a certain way at a certain time. And when you discuss issues, particularly serious issues, you need to remove emotion from it, because because emotion always gets in the way of rationality and reasoning. And it sounds cliche, but come on, this is where it should be at. I mean, if there's a place where men can come together and they can discuss things in a rational sense. Honestly, I've not seen it anywhere as much as I've seen it in Mgtow. I just have to say that, and I've been into a lot of forums as well, and we need that. We need to be moving on. We need to have this have these discussions instead of, oh, them guys over there, they're bad. Those guys here, we're good. We need to kill those bad guys.
Oh yeah, women just disrupt that whole rational process that men can engage in. And sometimes it's like they're doing it on purpose. They come into a group and then they start talking about sex. You'll even see this behavior with a lot of blue pill men. They'll come into a conversation like this, and as the men are talking and they're saying, we need to be rational beings, the blue pill men are saying, I want to get laid. Did you see the boobs?
Yeah. Exactly.
Howard, that ties in with what we've been saying all along. And this goes back to what we're now a year here, but we haven't had any women on our show. Okay, and there's a reason for that, because the whole dynamic changes. We know that. We've discussed this at length. You throw a woman in right now into our discussion right now, everything is going to change, regardless of whatever level we're operating at Mgtow. Everything will change, and it will derail the conversation 10 times out of 10. Sorry, 10.1 times out of 10. Okay? So, this is it. We have to keep this dialogue.
Just consideration of their issues as if they are the primary issues. As Shining was saying earlier, something has to be done. Our civilizations are falling apart, and the women are concerned with, the Truth Council on Twitter. They're concerned with a guy's shirt that he's wearing, that's got pinup models on it. They're not concerned with the deficit spending. They're not concerned with immigration issues. They're not concerned with unemployment among, healthy men. And we can't even talk about it. Mgtow is the only place we can talk about it. And the PC culture is a form of censorship. And you can't do it in the workplace, man. If you try to talk about this stuff in the workplace, you risk losing your job. And that's censorship. If that's not censorship, what is? So this is a fight for freedom of speech, and confronting feminism, I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it.
Well, yeah, and it's liberating, man.
It needs to be done.
Yeah.
And they always manipulate men through women. It's like, oh, look at the women suffering over here. Regardless of, it's actually mostly men that are getting killed in wars or in attacks. But oh, look at the poor women. The women, our women need us. Look at our women getting raped. Come help us out. They always manipulate men through that. I mean, there's nothing that sparks outrage more than a woman being defiled. A woman being defiled.
Yeah. You know what else is interesting is we've been around for a year, right? And the thing is, we're not going to let any females in. But here's what's interesting. I think it was the Honey Badgers had a podcast a couple months ago asking us MGTOWs, to join into their talk. You know what? As far as I'm concerned, if they want to talk, they're not going to make it, on the throwdown. Okay, but if they want to talk to us, I have no problem setting up a podcast and have a talk. But the key here is we have not been approached yet. Okay, they have to come to us. Okay, and ask, and they haven't done that as yet. And you know what? I kind of hope that they don't. We're doing just fine without them.
Yeah, Mgtow doesn't need, that level of exposure. It can just reach out towards individual men and, help them, and then the change can go out, by helping individual men. That'll work just fine.
We're working out just fine, on a daily. I mean, every day there's new content coming up. Whether good, bad, or indifferent, the point is content and new content producers are popping up. So there's definitely some kind of organic growth. The message is getting out.
Yeah, I think the message needs to get out, and men are recognizing that. Even society is recognizing that. And as you said, it's very liberating, So I recommend it to, to anybody, to find a voice where you can say, I don't like this. I find it to be, censorship, essentially, So, I'm enjoying it.
Well, it was funny to watch that Honey Badgers podcast to see who turned up. Who turned up out of the Mgtow? That was funny.
That was funny. We were like, we were waiting for a regular producer. Like, they got a guy that's been around for a month, and then a bunch of guys that we didn't know, and we're like, and then I think they put in a palooka in there, like a couple guys that they knew as MRAs, and then they just identified as MGTOWs.
Yeah. Well, no, I wish the Honey Badgers all the best. They're doing their own little thing over there.
They are doing a great job in their own respect. I'm not going to knock them down. I mean, like I said, my take is if one word is put out and they're putting it out and it's waking up a man, job done. Thank you very much. That's what I appreciate. And I'll tell you, I mean, some of the women there, every now and again, you get the likes of Hannah Wallen. I mean, she's got some really cool shit to say. Right, and the dialogue between her and Karen Strawn. I'm talking about the message here. They're putting out good quality messaging, and all I'm hoping for is that a guy latches onto that message and and becomes Mgtow and comes and joins us.
That's what I did. That's pretty much exactly what I did.
Is Hannah Wallen? Is that a man or a woman?
No, Hannah's a woman. I think I don't want to stub my tongue here in saying, but I think she was an ex-hooker. Okay. An ex-prostitute, and she's seen all kinds of men, and her message is, I don't want to put the NAWALT status here. I don't want to talk about that. I'm talking about her raw message and her experience and her view. I definitely tip my hat to that lady. She's brought out some quality message. And when she gets going with Karen Strawn, there's some, Karen Strawn, there's some good dialogue going on, and they're pointing out some really cool things. It's just when they get into their little female yakety yak, I shut down. But for whatever I can skim or I can parse through for bits of information, Hannah Wallen and the dialogue between, and once in a while Allison Tiemann has some good things to say. Yeah. But again, it's that whole process of having to parse through a Honey Badger session.
Do you miss Laugh Out Loud Feminism being on there?
LOL? Oh
yeah. I think
the Mgtow.
Yeah, I think she had a lot of good to add to the Honey Badgers, but somehow she ended up in Mgtow as Wigtow now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've yet to see the evolvement of Mgtow. I mean, it's still, we're by far more evolved. But the question is there a potential for a Mgtow out there?
Well, it depends what you mean by a Mgtow.
Exactly. That's the point. I think the closest one is Diana.
Diana, yeah.
She's about the only one that's pushing that scenario, but it's still not concrete. Are there any others out there that are like? Not that I care about it.
There's Well, did you listen to the podcast I did with Messenger on Friday?
Yes.
We talked a little bit about it then.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear Zita? Did you listen to it?
Which one, sorry?
Friday, my Friday's podcast.
Oh, Friday. Yeah, that Friday morning one. I was working a late shift there.
You didn't listen to it. Shame on you, brother.
I listened to it. You're always on the brother.
Because no, Diana's not the only Mgtow format you've got. You've got the infamous VK Clark.
Yeah, VK Clark was a
yeah.
VK Clark. She was. I think she's the only one that declared herself as a woman going her own way. She was the only one that
attacked us in the process, and
attacked us very
was that
very well as well.
Yeah, I think that was a troll.
Is that part of the Mgtow philosophy?
That's part of the Mgtow.
Mgtows, because they're a bunch of scum and all that. So is that part of the extreme?
That's got to be part of.
What's the other side of the spectrum where you get feminism LOL types? I mean, I've yet to see any Mgtow content producers.
But
so, ladies, if you're out there, I want to hear what you have to say.
Seriously, she was attacking Mgtow on the angle that Mgtow was racist, which was quite interesting. She was saying that Mgtow is a white supremacist group. Yes.
Victoria K. Clark? KKK Clark?
Yes, Veronica. I think her name's Veronica.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was quite bad. Because obviously if Mgtow gets lumped in with the neo-Nazis, we will get demonized in no time flat.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Anybody can take any identification and say, I'm that. And she was clearly not a Mgtow.
But she was funny. She was like no end of entertainment.
Yeah, she was clearly not a Mgtow, or else she would just go her own way, and it wouldn't matter what we were doing because that wouldn't affect her in any way. But
yeah, she was so funny. Yeah.
I think the closest thing that we do have to a Mgtow is Diana. I think if she came on this podcast right now, she would say nothing. And my identification of a Mgtow would be, she would say nothing to shame us. She would say we would have to feel that she wouldn't change the conversation, because I've been in conversations with her before. She changed the conversation none. It wasn't centered around her. She would act like one of the guys, and that's as clear as it gets right there. She understands the policies, and it wouldn't be an interruption. But some of these women's idea of Mgtow, and even some of the blue pill ideas of Mgtow, is they're trying to steal Mgtow, and they're mimicking Mgtow, and in a way they are mimicking Mgtow. They're mimicking the ideas that we have. My concept on this whole thing is, for every Mgtow we make, that's one more that I'm not gonna have to talk to about why she shouldn't be hypergamous.
Well, that goes on to the bigger picture. I mean, what will be the inevitable outcome or the inevitable effects of the Mgtow ideology? I mean, if we obviously, number one, there's going to be less birth rates.
Right.
And number two, that's going to cause the government to address that by what? Opening up immigration.
Yeah.
So you guys can't complain about immigration because we cause it.
Yeah. Now there are some things that we'd have to look at, or they would have to look at. It's not our problem what they would have to look at. But I see the guys that are against Mgtow are the guys that are still thinking about that pussy, and that pussy being subservient. That pussy has to be subservient to them, and they're not allowed to have their Mgtow, and they're not allowed to walk.
I wouldn't say that, because if you talk about Mgtow to the men, or the men in Mgtow, what they think you mean is women who have equal concepts, equal discussions, equal ideology as we do. Now the thing is, you have to clarify what you mean by women going their own way. I mean, do you mean that the VK Clark type who literally practice a female version of Mgtow, or the Diana Davidson who just wants to help the Mgtow philosophy develop? See, they're two very different.
Yeah, they're an all or nothing thing. They seem to have a choice of an all or nothing. And my idea would be a woman that she understands birthrights and male abortion rights fine. If she wants to have a kid, she'll say, I'll have a kid, and I'm going to take care of that kid. I'm going to take 100% responsibility because I am that strong, independent woman.
Yeah.
And that's a Mgtow.
I'm waiting for Mgtow nuns, to make
nuns
content. That'll be interesting. But I don't see that happening soon. Just like some of us are declaring ourselves Mgtow monks.
I was going to say that as well, because like I said, Veronica Clark, she practices Mgtow in a female form, so she abstains, she's celibate, she's cutting away from the government.
She's declared asexual, if you recall.
Right, yeah, she declared
asexual. Part of that community.
Yeah, well, now how could that hurt you? These women would not be able to hurt you in any way. They could still have the problem here is with Mgtow is they still have the gun in the room. They could pull it out at any point.
But and what are they going away from?
Yeah,
are they going away from relationships with men? They've already done that.
Yeah, and what are they going away from, really? We're going away from the gynocentrism where they have the gun in a room, and we're going away from being slaves. What are they going away from?
This was going to be my...
This is a system that gives them great entitlement and lots of free government programs and a whole bunch of laws.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. So there is this thing like what are you walking away from? And I could see that point perfectly.
Yeah, they're not walking away from anything.
Yeah, most of them are running towards that.
Yeah. Hey, I'm waiting for a Mgtow messengeress and put up a video called "The Nun's Code," and then her explaining, in the same tone as messenger, right? Messengerizing, the messengeress. I'm waiting for that.
I think there's a lot of groups as Mgtow grows that are going to try to co-opt Mgtow, like white nationalist groups or racist groups. I also think that they might just want to be trying to divert it and just, throw a monkey wrench into it to slow it down, stuff like that. Something I wanted to ask you guys concerning popular, Mgtow-related YouTubers and messages. What do you guys think about Milo Yiannopoulos? Because I like him, not in a gay way, but I think he's a great messenger.
Well, that's the thing that always gets thrown out there. He's allowed to do what he does because he's considered non-offensive and gay, and he's considered that mangina male, not even that male that is not harmful. So there's the only reason they let him say what they let because they consider him non-toxic.
Which is the same angle that Karen Strawn has become popular. There she is looking like a rad femme butch dyke, and yet she's talking in the opposite direction. And of course, she's raised a lot of shit.
Now look at if you put my persona, my body, this guy roughly beard, kind of scruffy, and I came out and I said exactly the same thing as Milo Yiannopoulos said. Would it come off to them as being non-offensive?
You wouldn't be allowed to say it.
I wouldn't be allowed to say it because they automatically go to the image of the toxic male in their head, and we are being filtered in a way that way, aren't we?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's filtering some of our best speakers. It's filtering some of Mgtow's best people simply because society's kind of we don't want to have to look at this guy or because he's too much of a man,
Yep. Well, if a man
they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it from a man. They want to hear it from a woman, and that's what they're hearing it from when they look at Milo Yiannopoulos. They're hearing it from a woman.
If a man tries to speak the truth, they shut him down. You know what I mean? They accuse him of every dirty, rotten thing that there is. But if he's a smiling, young, handsome, gay man, you know what I mean? That's one of them, and he can keep saying those things. Or if it's someone like Karen Strawn, who's so reasonable and rational, and yet she's ripping them apart. I think it's great.
Yeah, they're just picking who they want to hear it from, and that's objectification. That's everything that they say we're doing to them, they're doing to us. They're objectifying us. It's all those things they're doing. It's like
It's feminist projection. It's a preemptive attack. It's them accusing men of the exact same things that they've been doing. So when they say that men have been oppressing them for thousands of years, no. Men have been trying to help them for thousands of years and build the society. Women have been oppressing men for thousands of years through sexuality, and it's brutal. And when you bring it into a modern system, into these modern institutions and laws, it's destroying a civilization, in my opinion.
Yeah, so if I started putting on some nice lotion on my face and dyed my hair blonde and shaved my beard off,
if you metrosexualize,
and I metrosexualize myself, my message, I know my message would be, and I tone my voice down so I have a nice, if I talk like this and I get a lisp, they would accept me.
Yeah,
but I would be saying, the mind would be saying the same exact thing that I always say, but they would accept me, and that's
the same message in a different package.
It's in a different package, and it's got to be their package, filtered through the gynocentric, what they want to hear. And sometimes I think his message is very light. It's very PC. It's very light. It's what they want to hear. When they pick the subject of the program, they've already picked the subject of the program. Milo doesn't come on there and go, hey, let's talk about hypergamy. No, they let him on because he's going to talk about, with the last one, with the two girls that wanted to talk about how mean of a place the internet was. And then you have to interject. He has to come up with crafty little ways to interject the man message from the manosphere into that. And that puts a burden on our message, and it's still filtered through the gynocentric, and it makes it burdensome to get out our message, and it still makes them in charge, doesn't it? Yeah, so I personally have a little problem with it. I don't hate Milo. I like Milo. I think he's a great, but why they pick Milo, I can obviously see why they pick Milo.
I think Milo also picked himself. He was the right man for the job, so to speak. But that seems to be the trend. It's we're pretty much we're shut out of the conversation, regardless. Okay. The more truthful we become and we grow, the more they're going to shut us out. They do not want to hear us. That's where the likes and the irony and the phenomenon. Part of the phenomenon is the fact that the guys, the Milos of this world and the Karen Strauns, are the ones that are given the voice because of the fact that they are protected under a gynocentric dialogue.
Yes,
right?
They are.
Okay. So we will never be allowed. Okay, I mean that's my take. They don't want to listen to us, because we are already a label. Okay, not so much Mgtow. We're men. Okay, we are evil. We are rapists. That's it. We are shut out of the conversation, and that is empowering to us. Okay, for us to, create what we're doing and develop for ourselves.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask port CTP. What do you mean by transversable Mgtow? You taking a shot at me?
He's playing with semantics there, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's playing with semantics, okay, here we go. Let's do this. Block user. Okay, that was easy.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Morpheus's comment there. There is an industry about dissing feminazis without talking about the root cause of female nature. Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, that's the dupe right there, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to talk about it without getting some blowback.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The more I talk about it, I can tell that the more I'm going to, trigger some of the blue pill type of people. Another thing I wanted to mention, just in passing, is that comedians don't go to college campuses anymore because they're afraid. They're so censored from the, politically correct culture. They're afraid of getting in trouble. And I think that's a shame.
Well, I mean, look at the recent developments. You know, some of the in the comedian world. You know, the likes of the guy from Brampton, the Indian guy. What's his name? I mean, he's he started a dialogue and stretched it to the max. Russell Peters, right? You know, he got that whole. I mean, we won't talk about racism and all that. He was able to push that card, you know, and create a whole career and make millions where he's at now. But you're right. Actually, there was an article there, Howard, about college campuses about comedians not being able to perform. I'm going to dig that up and probably post it on Google Plus there for guys to look at. I'm going to dig it up.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's cool. No guaranteed delivery. I was looking into trying to see what these guys, if they had any questions or if.
Yeah, questions from the chat room there. We got the three of us. I guess Shining has left us temporarily here. Might be back. Is there any more discussion on Mgtow? Anybody in the chat room? Or if you have any relative topics that you can present to us here for Howard and Traversable, myself.
Yeah, I think about the best thing you could say about Mgtow is that if you have women that are aware and sympathetic of women's issues, you know, that's a step in the right direction, but the women aren't walking away from all their advantages in society, and they're not walking away from the power that they have over men, so it's almost like a meaningless statement, Mgtow, women going their own way. They're not going to go their own way.
And that's what's presenting itself, Howard. And this is what we have, you know, and I looked at some of the comments there in chat. You know, it's an oxymoron. It really is. Yes. I mean, if we only got one, namely Diana Davison, who's probably the official Mgtow right now, there's probably some other closeted ones. I remember one a year or two ago, Lucia Reiki, I think was. I mean, she put out some content and was talking Mgtow, and some of the Mgtows were leaving comments there too as well. But nothing concrete, nothing that can say, hey, we're standing out and we're doing this. This is our objective. I'm not seeing them attacking feminism or some kind of program for, you know, to help men out, right? There's nothing there. You know, there's just talk, and it's Diana Davison who's doing all the talking on the Mgtow level, if you will. But there's nothing really concrete. I see. Yeah, Howard, please.
No, there's a whole industry on the other side of it. Lacey Green is actually in the business of demonizing men. Anita Sarkeesian is in the business of demonizing Western male civilization. You know, and they're making good money at it. And on the other side, there's Diana Davidson. You know, on the other side, there's Karen Strong. There's just not very much, is what I'm saying, compared to that whole industry.
And this is just it, Howard, Joe, and anybody in the chat room here. Really, this is to raise the issue of if there's anyone that can do anything to help us out, it's women. And Mgtows would, I mean, technically, they would be the ones that could, you know, create some kind of change.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's always been that way, and it's always been if Esther Viller doesn't say it, then it doesn't get said, and it doesn't get out, or, you know, the book never gets published. If Esther Villa was James Villa, no one would ever care about it.
That's right.
And if it wasn't, you know, Diana saying it, no one would. She wouldn't have 42,000 viewers. If it wasn't Karen, she wouldn't have 90. If it was a male, and that exemplifies the bias that we have. It exemplifies.
But it also works in our favor too, Joe. That's the flip side of that. You know, do not get depressed or upset that the fact that we don't have a voice, because we are creating our own voice in these spaces. And this is our, you know, this is our strong point. So in a way, it's good. It's kind of good that we're gag ordered, because it helps us to improve the dialogue amongst ourselves.
Excellent point. It really does make us stronger to be held back at the initial level, to not get the exposure that a Lacey Green or an Anita Sarkeesian would get, and have to develop such a strong message, such a strong base, that when that message is, you know, reaching out and doing its job, there's nothing that could stop it.
And to keep on promoting the individuality of each individual Mgtow, give each man a fucking voice, please, okay?
Right. Give
because
each man a voice.
based
That's
on
what I'm saying.
meritocracy here, it's the merit of what you're going to present here in these talks. That's what rules the day, and that's something that they can't do out there, okay? And that is our greatest strength, gentlemen. Okay?
Yeah, I love that word, meritocracy. You know. I was looking at past. I did a video on past. You can check this out if you don't believe me too. Go to Wikipedia and look at past men's rights movements, and men's rights movements in general. And then you can read all that stuff, and that's fine. Most of it is true and everything. And then look down at the bottom of the credits they give. You will see that very few men in there, and the books that were written that were accepted as being acceptable and non-offensive, simply they're simply non-misogynistic because it comes from a woman. Like I said, with Estevilla, with you know, the Lacey Greens, the Dr. Helen Smiths. The only reason the book is acceptable is because it came from a woman's voice. And
that's right. And same with that girl who did that movie, the documentary, The Red Pill, that MRA type movie, Casey, whatever her name is. She's the only one, because she's a woman. They're the only ones that can be the spokespeople.
The only, simply based on what we say all the time. It's simply based on a vagina. And that's right. The neotenous look. Dr. Helen Smith can come and say the same thing I can say, and she gets accepted and I get censored.
Yeah.
And that's what we're fighting against. But it's the way things are, and I know it is the way things are. And that's one of my very favorite, it's not one of my very favorite lines, it's one of my lines is, we accept things just because that is the way it is. And that's what they give us. Go to work, be good slaves, be good providers, because that's the way it's always been.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to hold my breath, but I'm still waiting for Mgtows to come and approach us and you know, do a podcast and ask us questions on how to help their movement and shit like that. You know, and you know what? In all seriousness, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I'm waiting, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah. Well, we need a Lacey Green. You know, we need somebody to take this Mgtow message and put it in that package. And
behind the scenes, a man like you could be doing all the work, all the thought work and everything. She'll be writing it down, and then she echoes it, mimics it, and then it's acceptable.
Yeah, but it's common knowledge.
Go ahead, Howard. You cut Howard off there, Traversable. Bad you.
Yes.
You were saying, Howard.
No. I was fine. You know, I was just saying that the package, you know, makes it really matters to the people, and yeah, that's all I was saying.
No, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We've yet to see that. We've yet to see some woman, you know, come up with that concept similar to Lacey Green. It's not going to happen. I don't think it will.
Yeah. Ooh, I often thought about, you know, just you know, starting a channel here and getting my son's girlfriend here to sit in front of the camera, and then I would make the script, and then she reads it off, and then I would have 90,000 viewers in no time.
That would be an interesting thought experiment, actually, Joe. You know, if you think about it, if you structure it properly, see if, you know, just start a channel with that, right, and see what happens.
Yeah, I'll bet you she'd have. I bet you she'd get the immediate 14,000 to 20,000 viewers, because men just like to look at women, and they like to objectify them, and they like to do that thing, and it's more. Women would come in and agree with her because she's part of the, you know, gynocentric. And you know, it would be an interesting experiment, but it would be oh so offensive. It would be oh so offensive. It's just like the tech industry now. You know, the guys writing the programs, the guys actually doing the work, and you know, you can put a female figure out in front of that, and then it'll be more acceptable in video games. But it's the same guys doing the same work, and it boils us down to the utility. It boils us down to the working machine, the meat machine, and as long as if it was a woman wearing a shirt that had a bunch of men on it that landed a sensor on an asteroid, they would have loved that, wouldn't it?
No, they would probably defend her. You know,
would defend her right to be an independent.
Her right to wear a shirt with naked men with hard-ons or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. There were like naked men. There were just, you know, sexy pictures of men on that shirt. That no one would have ever gave a damn. They would have said, "Oh, she's brilliant. She's genius. We should put her in the book of history as the most genius person ever." You know.
Yeah. The media likes to portray women as if they're the complete equals of men. So whenever they show a man doing something difficult, like putting out a fire, they've got to show a woman like holding the back end of the hose.
Yeah.
And, you know, or if they show a man working out, they've got to show a picture of a woman in the background, you know, doing something like some cardio exercise back there. And if you show these kind of images to a young man over and over again, he'll really start to believe, that anything that a man can do, a woman can do. And the woman will start to believe it too.
Yeah.
And I don't think the real world's like that.
No, the problem is when people start falsifying and everything, and to the point that they start believing their own lies. That's the problem right there.
Yeah. We've got a powerful media that really wants to distract people so strongly and inject its message into them, which is a feminist message, that this is this is what it's doing. It is taking people out of their own lives, out of their own concerns, and distracting them with a feminist ideology. We got to protect the women.
At all costs.
At all costs,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, if you want to be a real man.
And no one's saying, hey, being a real woman, and this would be the Mgtow message, being a real woman would be taking totally 100% responsibility and accountability for yourself, and your life is your responsibility, and you will be graded on your merit, not.
And if there's anybody that can judge anyone on accountability, it's men. Because we're naturals for accountability. We really are.
Oh, yeah. If you're not accountable in a man's world, you usually end up paying a real terrible price, like physical injury.
Yeah.
They don't realize that, Howard, the seriousness of accountability in a man's world.
Right, yeah. Do you want a woman up there with some guy going, oh, you're looking good, baby, just pound those rivets into that steel, and the building gets built, and those rivets are only pound halfway in?
Yeah.
Do you want that? That's what our world's turning into now.
Well, I've yet to see a group of women build a building.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And all the electrical, all the heating and air conditioning, all the brickwork, everything, the glass, everything. Build a 30-story building. Let's see you pull that off. Just women. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, that would make like an interesting reality TV show. We took this group of women, gave them the supplies, gave them the plans. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, Howard, I remember in the 80s sitting in with rad femmes and listening to their bullshit, right? And one of the things is, we can do anything a man can, and, eventually there's going to be a separation. We want to defect, and create our own cities built by women and this and that, blah, all women. Yeah, good luck. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I had an argument. I had a simple argument. It was just there was a woman on YouTube here, and she was showing how to put an outlet in. And I was just, let me watch this. Let me see this woman, because I'm an electrician, obviously. That's what I do for a living. And so she got up, and everybody was saying she got like 90,000 hits on this video and everything, and she's putting this outlet, the strong independent woman. And then I noticed she did it wrong. And I says, well, from the outside view to people that don't put outlets in, you simply take the outlet out, you put the new one, you twist down the lugs, and you stick it back in there. And that would seem to be the sensible to someone that really didn't know. And that's when we talk about building buildings and stuff like this. Men been doing this. Men know these things. And what she had done wrong is she didn't leave the outlet outside of the box for a couple hours and let the stress tension relieve and then retighten it down. Because you stick that outlet back in there, in about 24 hours, it's going to loosen back up. Then in about 2 years, you're going to have a loose outlet wiggling around in there. And it's like, oh, that was wrong. You did that wrong. But that's what we'd have, buildings being built like that, without the secondary steps taken, without the things that men just kind of know happen, without the experience. And that's what men walking away is. I think when you got a guy out there like me that walks away from his trade and was very good at his trade, you have the next level. The next level is going to work up. Then you're getting the second tier outlet. So a lot of these, and then you're going to get the third tier guys doing that, and the women doing it, and that stuff. And that's when buildings will start burning down, because nobody really knows the right way to do things anymore.
Yeah. Women, no, you're absolutely right. And the women are encouraging that. They discourage the men from getting together and sharing their knowledge.
Exactly. And this is part of the unseen and unspoken way of getting back at us, okay? Because I'm even seeing that from the passive feminist supporter women out there. You know, you mention anything, you talk about men or something about a man, and automatically, you know, they're going to jump in and they're going to change. Well, women too, you know.
Me too.
So
Exactly.
Okay,
that's
I'm
the
into those
backward
videos.
very subtle, but we're aware of it. We're aware of it when we have to deal in our analog lives, so to speak. You know, it's there.
You take a guy like Warhorse, and he can go on these. I bet you can go on YouTube and pick up any. Like I can put a carburetor on, and I'm a strong, empowered woman, and he'll look at her job as she's going, and there'll probably be 10 mistakes.
Yeah.
But no one's going to say anything.
That's right. And you can't say anything. That's just it, because they're so sanctioned, right? That you know, you can't hurt Missy's feelings, right? And that's how they're operating. It's all in the feeling. Like don't upset the apple cart because it's going to hurt Missy's feelings, right?
It's going to hurt me. Yeah, but then you know, we got people that go, oh, you did such a wonderful job. You're a strong, empowered girl. You know, you're wow, really, and that bothers me in Mgtow when I see these guys doing that, and especially with the content producers makers like who's that sexy blonde girl over there at AVFM now?
Lauren Southern?
Lauren Southern.
Yeah, she's from Rebel Media.
From Rebel Media, and she's like what I don't even know what you call. She's just a men's rights activist supporter, and she gets her message wrong a lot. And it's always filtered through her sexiness and her gynocentrism and that her presence. But is that what we really want? This wishy-washy halfway message where it's sort of wrong, and they never see. But we got 100,000 guys over there now, going, "Ooh, she's so sexy."
Well, that's just it. I mean, that's what she's there for the MRAs. You know, these are purple pill kind of guys, and let's hear what she has to say, right?
Yeah, that was it goes back to I'm just gonna do that one of these days. I'm gonna start a fucking channel, get my son's girlfriend to sit in front of these guys, and then project my message, write it down every day, and then she could do the videos, and I'll just sit back, and then I'll I'll make my donations from the channels to the feed the homeless guys here, and not have to take it out of my fucking pocket anymore.
Well, I mean,
how about?
Sorry, go ahead, Howard.
Well, I was just, along those lines, you could make a video where you're just putting a series of girls in bikinis on the screen, but you're talking about a Mgtow message, and you're playing some heavy metal music, on the sound, and that's it, So you're going to get, thousands of guys watching it to see the pretty girls in the bikinis flashing across the screen, but the whole time you're delivering a Mgtow message.
You're delivering a Mgtow message.
I've got a bit of a conflict, what to do. Another thing I wanted to say is this feminine feeling world, like we've got to protect her feelings. We can't tell her that she's, that carburetor isn't going to work or that the brakes aren't really connected. We can't tell her. It'll hurt her feelings. It's in opposition to the rational world. You can't really have those two worlds. A world where you're going to protect Missy's feelings when she didn't connect the brakes on the car.
Yeah.
And a rational world where you've actually got brakes on the car. So there's a fight going on, and Mgtow is the front line of that fight. As that's how I see that.
Yeah.
That's a perfect analogy right there.
What do we got now is we got in the tech industry, there's probably girls doing that work right now, and in industry now, but just some guy's going to have to come back and recheck that work. So you're adding a cost to the producer, or the production of that product is adding a cost, and them are the lighter than air jobs that I talk about.
I can tell you, Joe, that the tech. Sorry.
Go ahead.
We had a lag there. Sorry about that. No, I can assure you that the tech sector right now has changed. Mind you, I've been out of the tech sector for about 7 years, but then and there, the whole concept of a technician being able to do troubleshooting, replace parts and fix the problem, that's pretty much gone, because everything now is you just go in and swap out a card, and a woman can do that with her. Anybody can do that. Even a trained monkey can do that. Yeah. So the days in technology where you did actual troubleshooting are pretty much done and over with. The only troubleshooting is just, that component is not working. Take the component out and replace it. Anybody can do that.
Yeah,
that's
we gave him a new. It's the new washing machine, isn't it? We gave him a new washing machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a man had to design the plug-and-play component, you know, and the software to run it.
Yeah. No, many men lost jobs in the past decade all because of plug and play, right? I was one of them. You know, I had to, you know, I was victim, I hate to say victim, but 2008, the crash in 2008, I had to learn how to reinvent myself. And everything pointed in the direction you can't stay in this industry anymore. I was in telecom for 15 years. Right? I saw the whole emergence and development of the internet, and it got to a point that it was unbearable that I could not make a sustainable living, you know, through piecework. You know, gone were the days. I mean, gone are the days of doing proper troubleshooting. They don't want that anymore. You know, you know, on average, it used to take me, I can remember the metrics back then, it used to take me about close to 30 minutes to do a proper troubleshooting on a complex problem, right? Well, now it's been done away. They don't want that. They want you to sell. If you're a technician now, they want you to sell products to the customer. I'm sorry, a technician is a technician, not a sales guy, for fuck's sakes, right?
Yeah.
And that's where...
That's a consumer... No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's how I reinvented I left the tech sector completely, okay, and I got fed up. That's where I stopped watching television because, you know, telecom and TV were, you know, they go hand in hand. And I just I'm in a totally different industry, completely, you know, away from the tech sector. In fact, I consider it more, you know, my semi-retirement package, what I'm doing now, you know, and it's very Mgtow. Right, in terms of the principles, and it's a self-directed, self-run. Well, although I'm in partnership with another guy in the same business, which we need, you know, but it's still, you know, it's still 100% Mgtow, you know, what I'm doing, and it's beautiful, man. It's perfect. This is what I've always wanted, but it's also humbling in a sense because it's now, even though I've tried different businesses throughout my life, this is the most concrete one, and I just got a 30% return just in the past month and a half, you know, as a Mgtow run business, you know, and that's incredible. So, you know, that's the way I'm working now, and I'm learning every day. Learn something new along those lines.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. You know, that's a great success story.
Well, hey, you know, but I did the groundwork. Again, that's, you know, I took chances. A lot of you know, running your own business, a small business like I'm running, is, you know, you got to take chances. You know, there's that risk-taking factor. You know, you can lose. You know, it's almost like investing, putting an investment in on a stock. But, you know, I banked on it, and I got a return, you know, in a relatively short period of time. But the method that I employed to gain that business was all analog. You know, it was the old-fashioned way of pounding the bricks, you know, like guys like us are used to from the old days. You know, it was face-to-face marketing with the people, and that's it. You know, and then it was just a numbers game, you know, waiting for them to you know, to put out the call for the service, and we got them. Right, and I can't wait to go out there once spring gets out there and do that form of marketing. You know, it's worked. It's worked wonderfully, and there's enough there of a lesson for guys, you know, who are starting their own business. You know, there's enough for me to share, and anybody to, you know, to get in on that conversation, how to build a proper Mgtow business. Right, and we had that talk actually, you know, towards later in the year. Hey, Joe, remember? About getting a business, you know, business talk.
I'm writing a message to McCoy right now.
Yeah, I think that would be a great talk and a great message. I'd like to be in on that talk and that message.
Oh,
certainly just to hear it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm looking for a new laptop. I'm on the market because this one I'm using, you know, I can conk out any minute now. But once I get that in place, you know, I want to come back and I'm sorry for all those guys that I promised I was going to do this, and I know that I've been away for about a month and a half. But Howard, rest assured, you know, getting into more specific topics, running a business, a Mgtow business. Let's get out there, and I'd like to get in sometime during the week, maybe just opening up a podcast, and guys who are interested in on that, you know, let's have a brainstorm. Let's have a think tank on this.
Yeah, because that's what's being destroyed. Men's ability to acquire wealth and build themselves up in our societies. It's women actually kind of like limiting the hunting ground of their men so that they can stake out more for themselves. And the way that they do part of that is by this preemptive false attack of feminism, you know, saying these men are rotten, these men are evil. You know, we've got to do something about it. So, yeah, I'm anxious to hear. I'd be very anxious to hear that.
Yeah. Well, we need to talk strategies if we're going to be, you know, running our own businesses. You know, there are strategies. One of the strategies, and I've shared this with guys, is that one of the components of my business is how to extract business from women, and specifically women, because, and I'm not going to tell what I do for exactly, but I'm going to generalize. I have an opportunity in my business to extract business specifically from women because of the optics around the service that I provide. It's perfect for that. So this is what I invite guys to do. For every door that they shut on our faces, look for the little windows of opportunity to get around for you to unlock the front door that they locked up.
Well, that's very crafty. That's a double strategy, because not only are you gaining wealth for a MGTOW man, but you're taking wealth from, no doubt, a feminist female that's, exploiting the system. It's a double benefit.
Feminists that are not aware of it, but the thing is I really play with them, with business women, women who are powerful and have powerful positions, right? And I mean, it's not much that I do, but it's basically the service and what I do. I don't have to share much. It's the service really caters to them, right? And it also caters to their sense of safety, and and I'm a white knight in their eyes. I'm not a white.
That's wonderful.
That's what I'm saying. So I play with those optics, right? But at the core and the foundation, I am true to myself and I am authentic. This is business, okay? And if business is going to project and make money, gentlemen, by all means, exploit it, study it, make use of it, okay? It's working for me,
Right. Starting independent small businesses. I talked about 2 men in a truck a lot. It's a way around gynocentrism. You don't need a secretary. You're not getting a secretary pushed on you. You're 2 men in a truck, and there's a whole idea, that concept that goes beyond that. There's a lot of things we have to start doing, to protect ourselves. I often give the example of the GSA, how the government works under egalitarian things. If you're, and I used to work for the GSA, by the way, so I see this up front. If you're a guy putting in boilers for buildings, you bring the boiler in, you do your engineering and that. But above you is these three levels of gynocentric engineering, where you're going to have some woman, some secretary, someone that's someone that hasn't had the education you got, telling you what she wants. And then after all that garbage is done, and after they extract those 3 paychecks, they're going to tell you, the guy that's actually putting the boiler in, to try to cut some costs there. And it gets so offensive, and it's why I don't do that no more. It's like it gets offensive to the point of why am I cutting my cost and cutting my profits down so you can have 3 engineers in that building?
It kills men's motivation when you pretend that women are in charge of them.
Yeah, and they're paying it. It's lighter than air work. All she's doing is going into the engineering guide, which you would have did anyways, and size up the rooms to see exactly what you needed, added them up, use the right pumps, use the head pressure, use the right head pressure. And I've had experience with this where we had a female engineer tell us to use smaller, cheaper pumps than were needed. And we needed 250 foot of push, and the head pressure wasn't right, and the water never made it up, and it started coming down onto the boiler and started kicking out the high waters on them. And I'm sitting back going, I know what's going on. I know exactly what's going on. But let's let them spend a month trying to figure that out. And then that's about when I walked away from that. It's like, okay, boy, couldn't get the simplest thing right.
Well, Zeta, if I understood you correctly, you were suggesting that he should have sat back and let them blow the boiler and then sell them a few additional boilers, as a result of their weakness.
Yes, that's how business opportunities present themselves. But this is the whole thing about developing that keen sense of business acumen. Okay, which is probably the bread and butter. That's the core foundation of running your own business, is developing that acumen where you spot business opportunities, right? Yeah. And also be able to distinguish a dud that's not going anywhere. I'm fascinated by it.
Well, there's a lot of things in business.
Howard. And this is something. We definitely need to get a talk on this, and I'm going to work on that, guys. Mgtow business.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they need, it always boils down. You're going to need the plumber, you're going to need the electrician, you're going to need the steel worker, and you're going to need the millwright, the mechanic, the maintenance man to do these work. But as long as we're getting that that utility extracted from us, and there's two parasites on the top of us, we ain't making the money we should be. And you want to talk about unfair labor practices? That's one of the biggest unfair labor practices I see in this world.
Yeah.
We got to figure out ways around it.
And this is the other thing too, Joe, that we need to impress on guys, is for some of us that have had experiences with our own businesses in the past, is that one business can lead into another business too as well. You know, there's that that leapfrogging effect, and there are guys that become holders and can keep one or two businesses running at the same time. It's that skill set of being able to spot opportunities like that. You see, the younger guys have an advantage, especially guys who want to get into computer coding and programming. Holy shit, what a world of opportunity you have there, right? You know, so yeah, we definitely need to talk about this shit, guys.
Yeah. And the one thing we've agreed on this too is never sell yourself short, you know, guys. Don't sell yourself for a cheaper price so you can get in the door.
Well, you know, men, they're taught to be selfless. They're taught to like just give their utility away for free. They're taught to not even think about themselves. So when you say, Zeta, you know, to see these opportunities and then to recognize them and to exploit them, it's as if that's not even in the man's character. You know, he wants to be a good guy. Like I felt guilty. I found a pair of gloves, some nice engineer gloves on the ground, right? I looked around, made sure somebody, you know, dropped them, but I felt guilty for taking those gloves, you know? At first I wasn't going to take them. So it's like we're taught to not even look after ourselves as men, and that's got to end.
That's got to end, yeah.
It's a question. You're right, Howard, okay? Yes, a lot of it has been steered to being a utility, right? And yes, some of this, you know, some of these business concepts and ideas can lead towards that. But I think the important thing is as Mgtow, be able to discern what is of being of service and where you become a utility to others and where you are, in fact, being a utility to your own business, to your own self-development. I think that's a discerning factor right there. And only the individual man will be able to distinguish that. We can certainly talk about it, you know, like we're doing now. But then again, it's, you know, the individual himself will have to discern that for himself.
Yeah. Yeah, what was that? How did that preacher he said that in a certain way, like put away yourself and become totally selfless. You know, that was his message on what a man should be in this world, and I thought that was so offensive to me. Like how he put that in a throwdown earlier. What he was saying is just learn how to be totally selfless to the world and put all your needs, you know, away.
That only goes so far, Joe. You know, especially if you're running a business. Now, you know, your energy level, you know, you can only do so much work promoing. My partner and I have done some promo work, you know, where we basically just got tips instead of getting an hourly wage for our service kind of thing, right? Yeah. But it worked out. At least it was a promo, and we did get something out of it. You know, but again, you have to be able to spot those scenarios and situations, be able to communicate that. Right, and then, you know, there you go. You just establish a business for a couple hours there, right?
Yeah. There's, you know, we're navigating the gynocentric, and it's almost like, you know, it's these things where we have to learn how to navigate so we can get what should have been ours to begin with. And you know, your total value, your total value when you go on a job, that's yours to begin with, and then we have to learn how to, you know, do these things in society regardless of how immoral they are. And that's the part that really bothers me. It goes back to the Milo thing, why we have to validate ourselves through that, why we have to filter ourselves through it, why we have to take less money for things or be self-sacrificing all the time. It's just so you can get your foot in the door and then somehow kind of squeak out a moderate wage out of these things. And it's just, oh God, it gets so frustrating to me. And you want to give up. And I have to the most point in my life, but you know, there's other things I can do and other things I can But it's very hard for some guys. You know, most of the guys, 80 to 90% of guys, are going to have to go to a shop and have to deal with that every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day. You know, you're going to be that maintenance man standing outside in the shop, and it's 140 degrees, putting an air conditioner in for a girl's office and her having her yell at you, and can't you do it faster, while you're working out at 140 degrees and she needs that air conditioner right away so she can work at a cool 68 degrees. You know, that's what you're going to get.
Though. Don't forget air conditioning. Remember that one?
Air conditioning, yeah, that's one of my. I don't think a lot of guys get that video and how I felt that day when I'm replacing that air conditioner and the bitch was standing there above me yelling, like, "Can't you do it faster?" And you know, like, man, it's 120 degrees. It was sitting next to a. It might have been even more than that. It's 120 degrees. I'm sitting next to a fucking a martensite or marpensite. A heat treater, which is, if you don't know, it's a big heat treater full of vats of hot salt, 700 to 1400 degrees, and she's yelling at me to get the air conditioner because she's a little bit uncomfortable because she doesn't want to take off that sweater. A little bit uncomfortable.
Men are not treated fairly. They're really not. No. And it's no wonder, you know, but if they were, you know, they would feel better about the situation that they were in. Like if they were the owner of the business and they were getting paid like double overtime or something like that, you know. But when the man is cheated and he's just getting ordered around, you know, it kills the motivation.
It kills your motivation, yeah.
And that leads you down that path of apathy where, you know, pretty much it's that sensation that all doors are closed. There's nothing in the consciousness to grasp at. That's a terrible, terrible headspace to be in. Yeah. Of course, this is a headspace that many men come to Mgtow. I was one of them too, right, in a sense, where, you know, and I'm still suffering from that apathy that we talk about, you know. But, you know, just as much as that's going on, there are parts in my subconscious way of acting throughout my day that is doing the right thing, okay, and that is presenting results. That's, you know, the interesting thing about Mgtow. It works on so many levels. You need to see it too. How is your Mgtow expressing itself in your day-to-day living, in your business dealings, right, in your work, right? And this is that consciousness that we're trying to wake up within us, right? You know, that is taking place. I mean, men are waking up, right?
Yeah, men are waking up.
And it's about that next level. Remember, Joe, what's next? What now what?
Next?
That now what phase of Mgtow, which we find ourselves in.
Oh, we've been hearing a lot of that what next lately, haven't we? With I think there's a lot of
what's next? Now what? Right?
Well, now we rebuild. You know, now the engine that's been killed, the killing of the man's motivation by, you know, treating him so unfairly, and taking away his own self-interest. You know what I mean? Like a man's going to build a family, and then you're going to take it away from him in the court systems and demonize him in his own children's eyes, and then have him pay for the family. You know, it's like, talk about making a man want to just, you know, not continue. So you kill that engine, that motivation that builds civilization. So now, you know, with the Mgtow awareness, that the man can rebuild that engine, you know, and start to feel good about his life again and see motivation and get results for himself, as opposed to for, you know, an environment that doesn't care about him, a feminist world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, just as much as red pill rage, you know, is a motivating factor in Mgtow, so should be the apathy too. I mean, the moment the man, you know, looks at himself, fuck, I'm apathetic, man. I have no juice left, you know, and, you know, geez, let me do an introspection here. Where's this coming from? You know, fuck, you know, I was told I was gag ordered, you know, I had an abusive upbringing, man. That had an impact on me. Hey, we're bringing this to the forefront, you know, and we're inviting men to become that brutally honest with themselves in order to move forward. And like I said, you know, that apathy is that gateway. When you come to that realization, it's a way of moving beyond yourself, right?
Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, but a lot of men get stuck in that red pill rage stage and fall into that nihilistic stage.
Exactly, but then again, that's where we need to become aware. And even that individual men, we're pointing it out to them, right? Hey, dude, you are in that state of mind. You know, and there is a way out. And here we are talking about that, okay? And we hope that you can. That's the extent that we can work them through, Howard. but we can't actually make them, make that decision where they're going to change their life right there and then. That's an individual.
No, that's really well put. Thank you.
Yeah, you can start enacting these things in life.
Yeah.
I know it's difficult.
It's brutal. But there's also that part. You could be in an apathetic state or in a rage state, and there is the observer within yourself that's watching this, right? And it's that's the Mgtow right there.
Yeah.
You're apathetic, you're fucking raging, but pay attention to the observer, okay? Because that's the founding father, so to speak, within each and every Mgtow.
If there's one of these guys and he builds his Mgtow life, he's making say $1,500 to $2,000 a week and starting to move up in life, and he's taking that and going spending it on women every week. You got to apply this Mgtow in real life. You got they take it out into your society, take it out into your community, and practice it here. I don't want lip service is great. We get all kinds of lip service in church. We get all kind of lip service from politicians and everything, and that stuff is all great, makes you feel good and everything, but when you start putting these things in motion in your life, that's where you're going to feel empowered. You're going to feel like I'm the man, and
seeing the results come back.
Your results come back. You will be happier, healthier, stronger, and wealthier, and there ain't nothing better than that.
And there, and that whole Christian community is saying, well, that we're a bunch of selfish bastards. Okay, fine. You want to look at us as selfish? Go ahead. But you take a man who's gotten over himself, built a business, okay, has things to share. How are you telling me that he is not of service? A man that's fully awake, and brought himself out of that pit of apathy, right?
Yeah.
That's one hell of a service right there. And believe me, there are ears willing to listen to that.
Yeah,
and you put that information out, that can change a man's life. Remember, one word, gentlemen.
Seriously. Yeah. The same guys that say that, didn't see me carry my check this week. Just last week I was talking to Messenger about this, about a men's shelter in the area that needed food. Did that man see me, this Mgtow monk that he hates so much, that was so selfish, carry a $15 check down to that guy?
Yeah.
No, he didn't see me do that. And did that hurt? Heck yeah, it hurt. But did I did it? I did it. And I never asked anybody for a dime to do it. But this same guy tells me I'm selfish because I'm a Mgtow. You know where that money came from? That money came from my selfishness, being a Mgtow, grinding my own coffee, making my own sausage. I did that myself. And this same guy is telling me that somehow I'm selfish. I should have carried that down to a little girl somewhere and bought her lunch.
I'm just looking at Mgtow Oracle's comment. A Mgtow can be a little selfish at the same time to help other men. You know what I say to that? I think what it comes down to, this whole business about being selfish, realistically speaking, we live in our analog world lives, right? Within our conscious moments, there are going to be parts where there are going to be times where we're going to be selfish, and we're going to balance that out with times that we're going to be selfless. It's a balancing act. It really is.
Right, where's that coming from if we're getting so strangled here most of the time? Well, we got to figure out ways to do it, and like you said, let's figure this out.
Well, it's like on an airplane, when they say the cabin's losing pressure, put on your own oxygen mask first before helping somebody else.
Yeah.
So men need to put that oxygen mask on, and I really liked what you said, Zeta, about the Mgtow is, the observer of all this rage that's going on, but not that rageful person himself, and when you practice these values, then they become real to you, and you get this reward that you didn't really know was there. That's certainly what I've been feeling lately. And, hopefully that can rebuild people and rebuild men so that they can become, new men, stronger men, like in Messenger Rising latest video, which I thought was a great video.
Oh, yeah. Any one of those guys we take off the street and, we can do something for, we're doing a service that was never there before, that they can't. Those guys are on the street for a reason. They're living it for a reason. Most of the time, they're not stupid. They just gave up because the Gyno Center crushed them so much that that's their lifestyle now.
They're destroyed men. They're crushed men. They've been taken to the pits, to so deep that they can't climb out of it. It doesn't mean that they cannot, okay? but the damage is so intrinsic, so done to such a great extent that they can't come out of it. Right?
They're still punishing themselves. They
Well,
don't see themselves as worthy
Yeah.
of them taking care of themselves.
And that becomes their psychodynamic. That becomes their dynamic. That's all they know, right? They find they find comfort in their depression, and unfortunately they can't get out of it.
Yeah. I often tell this story. The last house we were running, we got it was like a $500,000 grant, and we were running the house for men, and everything was going great, and we started doing the GIPRA, and we started doing the asking the guys what they needed and stuff, and I found when 3 of those guys out of the first 9 guys that were in that house that were homeless, one was an ex-dentist, and 2 of them were engineers.
Huh.
And they were living on the street. And it just kind of blew my mind there for a second. This guy was a dentist at one point in his life. He's a doctor, for Christ's sake.
The system breaks good men.
I saw the system break a very good friend of mine, actually, to the point it drove him to suicide, and I think that's what brought me to Mgtow.
Okay.
Seeing his life deteriorate over a span of 5 years. Okay. And what really took him over the edge was, after 3 months, his ex-wife, presented him, after an agreement that she wasn't going to nail him for alimony or any other payments. He came back after being in recovery for 3 months from alcohol and drug abuse. She presented him with the alimony, and next month he was dead.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're living on the street in a van, what's the difference if you're going to work or not going to work at that point? If you're getting all your money taken by the system, then what's the fucking difference? I've seen guys sleeping outside of steel mills here in tents and making $70,000-$80,000, and they're big when they get that check at the end of the week. It was a big zero.
Yeah, well, where's that money go to? For some of those guys, they have to pay off the room that they've rented, and they probably got $20 left to feed themselves for the whole fucking month, right? I mean, I think about scenarios where I might be homeless, I mean, it's not to sound, to push the macabre here, but, it could happen. It could happen. How am I going to deal with it, right? If it ever came to that point, I mean, I hope to never get there, but that's living a real life, as I see it. It could happen.
Yeah, that's having a man's awareness that you're in a world that if a couple things go wrong, there's nobody who's going to help you, and that's a terrible realization that I've been kind of coming to grips with lately myself through Mgtow.
Well, I mean, being a man in his 50s now, the margins of error become much slimmer as you get older. We know that, gentlemen, do we not? Right?
Right.
Those margins of error and the thing is now, that's how we tend to become more conservative. And I find that, that crossover from the 40s and from the 30s going through your 40s, and when you cross over into the 50s zone, life has taken on a different meaning. Yeah. But now that meaning with a Mgtow mentality, it just enhances it even more. But you get to see through a lot more bullshit, that's for sure. And but you got to be aware. I got to be conscious. I've got a good foundation here, but I'm conscious of the fact that if that plug ever gets pulled, what am I going to do next, right? Yeah. And I have to have a game plan. I have to have a plan B and a plan C.
Right. Hey, if I had that doctor, that dentist right now, and this is about 7, 8, maybe up to 10 years ago where I met this guy, and I had these 4 beds here. He's going to be sleeping in one of those beds and setting up a dental clinic in a garage for free dental. That's the way I would do that now. We built the society that we want to see. We have to build it.
Yeah.
They're not. We can't ask them to do it. They got their society and they're living fine. They don't want to give none of that to us. They want us homeless if we don't capitulate. If you don't capitulate to what they want, they will make you homeless. And that's what they're telling. No, Mgtow's about, hey, every one of us got a room. Every one of us got a little empathy in our hearts. Every one of us got a couple extra bucks for that guy. Let's start doing it and become the system, and start figuring out how to take money from their system and put it into our system. And that's where that, hey, make your own bread. You know, it's a concept. I'm not saying go make. If you don't want to, don't do it. But you know, you don't have to cut back on inequality in your life and everything. But use that same concept to navigate your life where you're not paying into the gynocentric and you're not paying for someone else's bitch.
Yeah. Essentially, that's what it all boils down to.
And that's from the moment you walk out the door to the moment you walk back in, and everything you do in your life. From the moment I make that first cup of coffee, I'm skimming. I'm skimming from Uncle Sam's coffers. That I bake that coffee out in my garage. I ordered it bulk. It doesn't look like a lot of money at the end of the year, but heck, it is. You know, it's not going to Starbucks and just so you can look at that little pretty little girl's ass delivering that coffee made at Starbucks, and you're paying for a paper burn hole around it. You know,
there's a reward in, you know, being efficient and taking care of the things in a very efficient way, and this really applies concerning a man's health and his physical well-being. You know, you don't want to overeat. You don't want to have too much tasty stuff, otherwise it's going to make you sick. And I also wanted to say, they are rewarding people who give in and cooperate, and they are punishing men who are honest and outspoken. And the man who cares the most about his family is the man who's going to be hurt the most when she divorces him and gives him the alimony papers. So it's like this slap in the face of all that's decent and good in men, and, you know, Mgtow is like the place that they can turn, and it's about their individual rights, and it is about standing up for freedom of speech.
Yeah. But that's where the gag order comes in, right there. Is we have to do these things that you mentioned, Howard, for and by ourselves.
By ourselves.
Right?
We can't be asking.
We have to do it by ourselves. But we can talk about it. This is the extent we can gather here in these podcasts and share information. At the end of the day, a man needs to be aware of exactly where his limit. How cliche and Clint Eastwood is that? Be aware of your limitations and what you're dealing with.
You're absolutely right. It's the decision that each individual man has to make for himself to decide whether or not he's just going to go on his instincts or go what he's been taught, go what gets him along, or to actually think and decide his own way, decide his own value, and that is an individual's decision.
That's right. And Dr. McCoy makes a valid point here. You may need to heal yourself before you become motivated again. And that seems to be, you know, in that what's next phase right now in Mgtow collectively, what's been transpiring over the past year, is guys have gone through the red pill rage. They're now probably in that apathy stage. They don't know the next level. They're probably keeping a job. And, geez, what's next? We're now in that what's next phase. Let's not make a mistake about that, gents. Seriously.
Yeah, we are in what's next. And
we're right for this
an understanding of that stage would be really ideal.
Yes. Yes, because once men start, you know, they start living these Mgtow things, what we talk about, that's when the real effect is going to start. That's the only place when you know, the boots hit the ground. Man, guys, the boots have to hit the ground sooner or later. A lot of us live it. A lot of us internalize it.
And let's not make a mistake too, Joe, about what putting your boots down. Men have done that throughout history. You don't necessarily need to slap a Mgtow label on that. Right, we're just talking about it, and we're reinforcing that because we've been gag ordered not to talk about that shit.
Yeah, we've been gag ordered not to talk about it.
That's right.
This Mgtow thing, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, always have it conscious on the back of your mind how you're gonna deal with every little situation that comes up, and how you're not gonna get hit. You know, and that's when it starts paying off. It starts paying off grand sums.
Hey, it's just starting for me now, Joe.
Yeah, I can see it. We do these. Let's do these things, and then we can become a community. Start being we will eventually be the society. We will be. Yeah, it will be our rules. We slowly change them one by one, and we become the system. And our system will not. You know, let guys sleep out in a cold Ohio night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or a cold Canadian night in my case here.
There's guys dying. Did you see any of those articles this year? They eliminated those articles from the press about the guys dying, frozen to death out on the streets. You know, you didn't hear none of those.
Yeah, probably in the States, your media suppressed. Here in Canada, they still show that. They still announce guys that got frozen. You know, here in the city of Toronto.
Here we're not. I looked the other day and I didn't see none of them. And I know we just went through a cold spell here where a bunch of those guys sleeping on the railroad tracks, probably died, and they're probably finding their bodies this week.
Yeah.
But no one wants to talk about
this. Does not get reported, Joe. That's the fact. And we're talking about it here in Mgtow, gents. You know, and we're shedding that light. You know, we're not going to leave any stone unturned about it and about these facts of what's happening to men. Yeah, you know, we've got men coming on talking about their experience.
Every one of those bodies will be a man, and 30 to 60% of those bodies will be a veteran.
Yeah,
the same person that went out and fought for their rights, so they can go to the store and buy some fucking decent food and shop at
well, isn't that amazing how you know, it ends up being the veterans that are the worse off in that section of men, of downtrodden men. Yeah. It's the veterans. Here they paid the ultimate sacrifice. They managed to live through it, and now they're treated worse than a piece of shit.
Yeah. It's the men with the most virtue that often get chewed up in this system.
Exactly.
Isn't that is it a resounding theme here that the best men, the men with the most morals, the men with the most virtue, would get chewed up in the system? It's just a resounding theme.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the system's exploiting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what the system exploits.
It's a business. It's a business, and men are being used in that equation. It's big business to kill a man.
Yeah, and it costs money to take care of them and do what's right, you know, because there's this two-front approach where the men, they need the shelters, they need the society to provide, you know, the places for them to go, and the men need to care enough about themselves that they're taking care of themselves and not falling into that state. You know, so it's a psychological attack that's ripping the men down too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but then again, we need to look at also Mgtows, and let's look back last year. You know, how many guys made videos living out of their van, living out of their car? Okay, they're out there and they're connecting. They're latching onto us. There's a guy who no is going through an experience right now that Messenger shared. Right. Point is, they're coming to us. Okay, and you know, it's just a question of sitting back of, you know, how they're going through their ordeal. Okay, yeah, we might set up a crowdfund for them, or whatever the case may be down the road. But I'm more interested in seeing how the Mgtow virtue, so to speak, is helping them get out of their scenario.
You want to watch a great example of that? Annihilated by Society, a good Mgtow man made 2 years. Of his 2 years, he documented his 2 years of experience on the street. Now he makes his videos. He's got his laptop in front of a warm building, and how he worked through it, and what he had to eat. He shows you all of it, every single horrible moment of it. And I invited him here a couple of times, and he didn't take me up on he didn't want to move from Chicago to Cleveland. But you know, he's a great, go watch from day one to day when he's sitting there now, and not a single dime of all that $2 trillion worth of money that Uncle Sam took from us last year and put the HHS, not a single dime went to help him.
Yeah. And there you have it. I mean, that's what we're about. I mean, we have probably, as a loose-knit organization, which we're not organized, but we are the only ones, our voice has helped other men from killing themselves.
Yeah, if there was
I'd like to see. It'd be interesting to see statistics compared to suicide prevention organizations compared to what we've done for men since we've been around.
I think our success rate is great. Have we had a suicide around here?
Not lately. Remember last summer when we had Nico Chosky, and we had a couple guys. We had one guy, remember? I forgot who he was, but he came through and we helped him out, right? Yeah. I'd like to see where he's at now. But the case in point here is men are coming to us, and they're on the verge of suicide.
Well, it's a peer-to-peer network.
Yeah.
It's an open source philosophy.
Exactly.
Oh, I like that. Sorry. uh, anyway, yeah, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got to make that bigger. I see these guys asking, "What's next?" That's the ultimate question. What's next is what you can do. Take it into the real world. Uh, you know,
Where are you at now as a man? As a man going his own way. You ask what's next, okay? Where are you at now? Start from now. Do an inventory. What do you have available right now? Who are you?
Yeah.
You
Do
know?
that inspection. Every
Start
little
with
bit
that
helps.
introspection. Absolutely.
Yeah. Sooner or later, we'll get these programs up and running the way they should be, without having to go down to HHS and beg, you know, because we will get no resolve then. They'll just take the money. You know what happened if you went to HHS begging for, shelters for men? They would say, well, you're donating, you got so much donation, then they would take half of your money and give it to a woman's shelter. But no, we have to be sneaky about this too. Pushing the boundaries of the laws is important. You got to learn these things, learn how to deal in this society too, because they're not going to want us to do this.
Yeah.
Because they want those men dead, so they don't cost them nothing.
Hey, by the way, on the topic that we're talking about, I would recommend people go to Vincent Mgtow's last video. He talks about this, about opportunities in jobs and how he went through his career.
Yeah.
Go there. Check out Vincent Mgtow's last video on that. He's talking exactly what we're talking about now.
Yeah. The younger we get to these guys, the better the better they'll understand their position in life. And once they internalize that and get over that need for vagina, need for female companionship, need to be spending all your money on women. I think in the future, we don't see it right now, but that momentum will start building.
Yeah,
it's going to start building, and then there's going to be more and more of us happy, healthy men willing to help out. But they're going to come and try to take it. At a certain point, they're going to try to make laws to get rid of us, and because their system is, they want their system. They want all the little girls taken care of, and they can do that still, but can they do it without us?
Mm-hmm.
That's the big question.
Well, but the thing is, there's a lot of strength and a lot of power in working around, should they ever implement those laws, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a fundamental strength in Mgtow, is our ability to adapt and redirect.
Right. Yeah. I always say start anything you start as a Mgtow. Start it with the presumed assumption that they're going to try to take it from you.
Yeah, I think that's a very healthy outlook on anything that you undertake. Always remember, they will try and get to you, right? Or try to take you down. And if you can work from that frame, you know exactly what you need to do. Get your plan A, plan B, get all your options. Be strategic, right?
Be strategic. Put your eggs in order. Yeah.
And that in itself is fascinating. I love it. I love the setting up little nest eggs here and there. And in case something happens, I can fall back on this, right? I've got enough life skills, right? Being a jack of all trades, master of none in many respects. Even my biggest fear is if anything came to a point where my business couldn't run anymore. And that's my concern, is now being an elder worker, if I ever had to face that. But again, that's also part of my plan too as well, or part of my scenario in case something happens. I need to adjust accordingly.
You have a planned obsolescence, don't we? We got a plan for that obsolescence, and because we're not going to get that same help out there. With this is what are we going on? We're going on 3.5.
Yeah, we're just over 2 hours, 3 hours here.
3 hours, yeah. With that, I kind of like to pack it up for the night and try to keep it manageable. I always forget to put these into private so I can split them up into 4 parts or 2 parts or 3 parts, but I just always forget that. Sorry, guys. So we can make them more manageable for people to watch parts. And I'll try to remember that in the future.
Well, so far it's worked out great, Joe. The 2 hour slot, and then we've been going 2 to 3 hours, depending on the guests that we have in our second part of the Throwdown. I just wanted to throw in my 2 bits. I haven't been around for about a month and a half. For those that have been asking, it's good to be back. Like I said, I've been busy with my business, and it's good to take a break from Mgtow every now and again in order to consolidate your perspectives and then come back and be able to share. And I hope that I've accomplished this. Talking here with Howard Dare, who's been putting out some excellent content. Howard, really good to have you here and talking to you in person.
It's really good to have you, Howard.
Thank you, guys. It's been a real pleasure and a real honor to be here. It's been a real pleasure listening, and I want to hear more from you, Zeta, concerning business opportunities and stuff like that. And I intend to keep producing these videos because I enjoy making them.
Oh, and it shows, Howard, definitely. We've touched up, and again, these are resounding topics, and and I keep rehashing them, with the Mgtow business opportunity. So, like I said, once I get my new laptop, get everything up and running, I'd like to be able to throw a podcast midweek. Yeah. And of course, that's what our Sundays are reserved for. Is pretty much we've brought our week, and we're tabling it and airing it here on a Sunday. Great way to get the next week going.
Well, count me in.
Yeah.
So, Howard, you're in, man. You're in.
Do you want to tell them about the plan, Zeta?
What's that?
The plan is to have a podcast for about an hour every day.
Joe, I mean,
get enough guys.
Earlier, before we went live, is you seem to be doing really well. I'd like to hear some feedback from guys in the chat room too, as well. Joe, doing one-on-ones, with content producers. Joe, I think is good next level stuff for you. But that's just my suggestion, bro.
Yeah. If I could start getting one-on-ones and then doing an hour, we can pick a subject, kind of go over it for an hour or two every day, and some of them will turn into longer.
Even you, Howard, you've got that thing going. Hopefully, consider doing one-on-one interviews with guys, with content producers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mgtow for freedom,
Mgtow for freedom, but you design your own, your own commentator kind of thing, your own thing. That might be something for you there, Howard. You've got it. I see it.
I definitely would consider it.
Please. Would happy to come in and talk with you on a show.
Well, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So if we can get Zeta the throwdown on Wednesday, and then I'll do my Thursday, and then Shining does the Friday or Saturday, and then we have a Sunday, and we step in a Monday somewhere with Howard, or that would be a beautiful thing. We could just keep it going all week long like a regular radio show.
For sure, and throw in specific topics of specific subjects if you're going to go one-on-one interview with certain guys, or certain guys that specialize in a particular area, kind of what like Stardust has done with Coltane and all that. We have an opportunity to do this and get into more specialized topics, right? And stay on topic with that and see how the chat rooms light up as we're doing it, so that there's opportunities there, spreading this message.
I still want to work on that phone call.
Sounds like it could work.
And then, so people can phone in. I still have to figure out how to do that. And we can give guys 10 minutes, to say something and phone in, or just talk. And I wanted to figure out how to do that last year, but I got sidetracked. And we did have it figured out at one point, but I just never put it in. I did go buy the extra computer so I can do it. You have to have 2 computers in that situation going, and I'll figure it out this year sometime.
All good offshoots from what we've established here on Sundays. I like what Dr. Leonard McCoy said. Let's keep the Sunday webcast going and keep it as such, because I think it's the collection pool of the week's events that we air and we talk about. But definitely during the weekdays, Joe.
Yeah, become a cult classic here in 20 years.
Exactly.
Okay, and Zeta, it's great to have your background, and it's always good to have Howard in and all the guests we had on today, and we'll try to look around, find some new Mgtows over the week, and hey, it's been 1 year, I think. It's been right around that point. And thank you. God, that feels good. And with that, I'm going to shut this podcast down, and I love each one of you guys, and I hope you do good and well in life, and never end up where I was.
And on that note, a huge thank you to the guys in the chat room. Really good discussion going on there. I'm sorry if we didn't cover everything, but by all means, throw it back at us. We're the throwdown. That's what it's for.
Thank you, Mgtow. Thank you, man.